Before the game here in Stillwater, they had the Cowboy walk-in. It is a tradition started by none other than Les Miles and carried on by Mike Gundy, who succeeded the hat as the head coach here at Oklahoma State and has lifted the level of this program to a point where 3 of the last 4 years, Oklahoma State has won 10 or more games, a sea of orange, as the commuting crowd makes it in on a Thursday night to take on Cliff Kingsbury and Texas Tech. Kingsbury, 35-year-old youngest coach among Power 5 coaches in his second year as the boss at his alma mater. His record 10-6 and hoping to start off Big 12 play with a victory tonight. This has been the Nissan pregame rush. It's an intimate setting here at Boone Pickens Stadium. They start pounding those paddles right there on the rubber walls on the side, and it becomes a cacophony of noise. But they'll be quiet when Dax Garman is in the backfield. I almost said under center, but they're not going to be really under center that often at Oklahoma State. Here is the journey that Dax Garman has traveled to get here to Oklahoma State. Played in 2009 as a junior in high school in Jones, Oklahoma. Transferred to the powerhouse South Lake Carroll, but wasn't able to play because of transfer rules. Signed with Mike Stoops, different kind of offense when Rodriguez came in at Arizona. Transferred to Oklahoma State and hadn't played until this year. Played a backup role and then started in the last game against Texas San Antonio for Mike Gundy, who himself was a terrific quarterback wearing the Cowboy orange. His 10th season at Oklahoma State, and think about this, he's 79-39, and until late in the 2010 season, all time, the Oklahoma State program didn't have an overall winning record. He's 40 games above 500 and has put together a competitive program that challenges in the Big 12 seemingly year in and year out. Texas Tech won the toss. They will receive. Deep to receive it, Justin Stockton and Jakeem Grant. Kip Smith will put toe to leather for the Cowboys. Underway in the Big 12 in Stillwater, and it'll be Grant. Jakeem looking for a little room, and he gets out across the 15, and he's knocked down at about the 16 or 17-yard line, so Davis Webb will put it in play inside his own 20. This is where Texas Tech sits after its first 3 games. None of the games have been impressive. Central Arkansas, the Bears kept it close out of the FCS. UTEP, Texas Tech needed a late stop to hang on, and then nobody stopped Arkansas. In the Texas Tech defense, the Red Raiders employing the strategy of letting the Razorback running backs run until they got tired, and it didn't work out. 438 yards they gave up on the ground, and Brett Bielema's team pounded Texas Tech. DeAndre Washington is the running back with Davis Webb. Quick pass out in the flat to Grant. Grant looking for running room, and the Cowboys are swarming as Grant gets up to about the 20-yard line. Now, Davis Webb, as David mentioned in the opener, very talented guy.
Davis Webb has to make great decisions tonight. First 3 games, he's pressed, forcing the football into coverage. He's already thrown 4 picks, and the offense hasn't been able to get on a rhythm. Just take what the defense gives you tonight.
Second pass also looking for Grant, incomplete. 3rd and 7 coming up. Seth Jacobs, a very athletic linebacker, was on coverage.
And this is one of the question marks on the other side with Oklahoma State coming in. They replaced 8 of their 9 top tacklers from a year ago. Not a lot of experience. How do they hold up 2 young in the secondary against this passing attack?
Noise coming, everybody standing up, trying to confuse Webb to where the pressure might be coming from. Look at all the Cowboys right on the line of scrimmage. One gets loose, nice dump off over the middle. It'll be a first down for Texas Tech as Devin Lauderdale on the short, shallow crossing route picks up the first down.
In this air raid offense, they love to use shallow crosses as the check down throw. And you see Lauderdale here just running across the field, and that's the advantage of having a 6'5" quarterback in Davis Webb. You get the blitz in your face, you can back up calmly, still see over the middle of the field, and deliver a nice, easy catchable throw.
Webb through Grant's hands, and it was almost intercepted on the deflection by Kevin Peterson. You were talking, Jesse, about him handling the blitz last time, and while Davis Webb has thrown 4 interceptions, none of them come against the blitz. He's handled extra pressure quite well this year.
He's been very good knowing where he wants to go with the ball, and you're seeing right now early in this game, they're trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly, into the hands of playmakers in the perimeter of the field.
DeAndre Washington in motion, so nobody with Webb. Receiver on the other side, and it's a quick completion to DJ Polite-Bray, and it'll be another first down for the Red Raiders.
And he makes those throws that make you go, wow. I mean, he's got all the physical tools that you would want in a quarterback, and especially potential, too, for the next level.
Going quickly, Grant's got it. Down the flat, and Grant is knocked down. Pickup of 2, maybe 3.
And you're seeing Jakeem Grant already in the game plan so far, and there's a lot of ways they want to get him the ball. You're going to see him line up at receiver. You're going to see him in the backfield. They'll give him jet sweeps. As many different ways as they can get their most dynamic offensive player touches, they'll do.
Red Raiders have yet to run it with no running backs back there. Doubt they're going to this time. Grant, cross, a lot of running room. Jakeem Grant into Oklahoma State territory and inside the 40-yard line. Larry Stevens on the stop, but the Red Raiders' opening drive is a good one. They pick up 16.
Another example when you go empty sets, the check down throw is the shallow cross. You got a little 5'6" receiver with tremendous speed getting across, making an easy throw for Davis Webb.
And you already saw it. That's the second time you've seen that play. Use it, take advantage of his speed. It's hard to run with him across the field. Grant is one of the fastest guys on the field.
And Jordan Stearns is not necessarily, at least certainly not as fast as Grant. He was the one trying to keep up with it. First running play for Texas Tech. Washington's loose in the secondary, and another first down for the Red Raiders.
I've really liked watching DeAndre Washington run the ball on film. Tremendous vision. He's shifty, and he can break tackles, and just a big crease right up the middle of the field for number 21 to run through.
No need to break tackles on that one. Great job by the offensive line. That's the thing. Remember, this offense spreads you out so far, sideline to sideline, having success passing the ball. They can keep you off balance with the running game. This offense is extremely hard to stop.
Fans would like to lend those paddles to their defense right now. Maybe that would help them slow down the Red Raiders. Webb faked the handoff and back to Jakeem Grant. Grant surrounded by Cowboys, stopped just short of the 20.
What we've already seen a lot is the way they're formating Jakeem Grant. You're going to see here he's stacked right behind Devin Lauderdale, and that's to help give him access if he is to release down the field. But again, quick throws, getting their most dangerous receiver the ball in space.
Already has 4 catches, does Grant. Webb will look to the sidelines, Cliff Kingsbury, see what adjustments I want to make based on the Oklahoma State alignment. Won't see this often. Play clock inside 5. Just get it off. Webb firing, wide open man. It'll be a touchdown for Texas Tech. Reginald Davis.
It's a great play design by Cliff Kingsbury and this staff of getting an area of the field vacated. You're going to see just a slot route up here, and that opens this space for the easy throw to Reginald Davis. It's Marquez in the slot running down the field. There's a wide open lot of green pasture, and that is a beautiful first drive by Texas Tech, engineered by Davis Webb.
We get one note taken care of on the opening drive. Davis Webb has now played 14 games in his career and thrown at least 1 touchdown pass in all of them. And based on the looks of that drive, I wouldn't bet on that being his last one tonight. Webb hits 7 of his first 9 for 69 yards, including the 21-yard strike to Reggie Davis for 6. Now Oklahoma State will get its turn when you come back to Stillwater. Back in Stillwater on Wednesday night, a lot of the students set up a little tent city. It's not as if they couldn't get a seat. They just want the prime seats, the one close to the field. Grab those paddles and hope to use it right on the Red Raiders' behind, figuratively speaking, of course. This is a very intimate setting. The fans are very close to the playing surface. Not a lot of room on the sidelines or out of the back of the end zone, for that matter. And Texas Tech made itself right at home this opening drive. 10 plays, 83 yards. They go up 7-0. And now the explosive Tyreek Hill. Got tremendous speed, as you saw in the season opener against Florida State, and Hill gets it across the 25. You're going to see a whole lot of him tonight. Oklahoma State is 2-1 on the year, but I would argue the Cowboys got far more credit from the loss in the close one in the opener against Florida State than they have from their 2 victories against Missouri State or Texas San Antonio. Texas San Antonio, of course, put a whipping on Houston, played Arizona tough, and then came in here and pretty much got taken apart by the Cowboys. Dax Garman at quarterback. And he'll keep it on the ground for the first play and run it with Desmond Rowland. Rowland led the Big 12 in touchdowns last year. Garman making his second start. He's a junior from Southlake, Texas. His numbers have been solid. He's yet to throw an interception, but hadn't taken a competitive snap since 2009. This is what he does best. Throw the deep ball. He's got a knack, and it goes right through the hands of Juwan Seals, but a flag comes out. Justice Nelson was trying to cover Seals, who is going back to the Cowboys sideline a little gingerly.
Defense, number 31, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And Mike DeFee with the emphatic first down, and here's the pass interference call on Nelson.
And Dax Garman is not afraid to throw the football deep and give his receiver a chance. And you saw, since he's taken over, a lot of pass interference plays and a lot of catches downfield. 55% of his passes, or 54% of his passes so far have been 15 yards or longer. He's gonna throw it deep.
That's a huge percentage relative to the other quarterbacks in the Big 12. And Garman looking to throw underneath, and that one is accurate. And at times, it's where he's been a little less accurate in those intermediate routes. Marcel Aitman catching it.
But he's a different quarterback than J.W. Walsh, and I think you saw it right there. I think J.W. Walsh, when the pressure comes, maybe takes off and tries to run. Dax Garman scrambles to throw. He keeps his eyes downfield, making a very nice accurate throw there, setting up 2nd and 1.
As Jesse mentioned in the open, J.W. Walsh, who played so well in the Florida State game, injured a foot, not able to go, and that's why Garman is in there. Rowland has it for his second carry, and he goes through that porous Texas Tech run defense and gets down close to the 40.
And the offense completely changes. I mean, it really does, because J.W. Walsh was such a great runner. They could stretch you horizontally so much. Now it's more, they're going to have to play more power ball and more tricky with this offense.
Garman, did it get picked off? J.J. Gaines has the interception. Jackson Richards was applying the pressure. We'll have another look at it and make sure that Gaines got those hands underneath. It'll be Garman's first interception of the season.
And Reese, you mentioned it. Deep accuracy isn't the question. The question is intermediate and short accuracy. Wow. Judging by that, the ball doesn't touch the grass, or the artificial turf, I should say. That is a tremendous stab by J.J. Gaines. He's trying to go over the middle.
He's getting hit just as he throws it, too.
He's trying to find David Glidden in the slot.
And that's a great play by Gaines. And you know what? That's just crucial for this Texas Tech defense. I mean, they've been destroyed their first 3 games. They're not doing a great job at all. New defensive coordinator, I think they needed a shot in the arm. This was a great start for them. It couldn't have been any better.
It's the first interception of the season for the Red Raiders, and significant because they've lost a turnover battle in 11 straight games. We'll talk more about that later and how significant that is and how improbable it is, as DeAndre Washington catches the short pass and gets out to about the 24-yard line and bring up 2nd and about 6.
See this defense, and one thing we'll be looking for from them is the emotion. They looked very flat when we watched them in the first 3 games, and they were getting beat up on the field, but already a little bit of a spark because of that turnover, looking a little bit different.
Webb right on target. Reginald Davis, who caught the touchdown pass, makes the grab. It'll be enough for a first down.
And Davis Webb looks sharp, doesn't he, guys? Just quick decisions, knows where he wants to go with the football, and it seems as though right now he's putting it wherever he wants it. He's dialed into this game plan. Hasn't always gotten off to the fastest starts this year. He's off to a good one now.
Rare running opportunity. Washington picks up a couple. You see Cliff Kingsbury. Kingsbury had a great career as a player at Texas Tech. Threw for more than 12,000 yards. 95 touchdowns, playing in the Mike Leach air raid offense. I've had guys like Graham Harrell and a litany of one-year guys who put up big numbers. As Webb going to show off the big arm, throwing it down the field, and he's got a man. It's Davis out there again, but Evan Peterson was on the coverage that time to break it up.
But I think right there he shows you what makes him special. I mean, this guy can just flick his wrist and throw the ball downfield. And that's a great job by Peterson, turning around and playing the football as a defensive back. I think that's what makes him the most talented quarterback to ever play in this system. You talk about all the guys that had all the success and numbers. They had a good feel for the game. They didn't have this kind of talent. 6'5", 210. I mean, he has NFL Sunday talent. So it's going to be interesting to watch him develop in this offense.
See if he can convert a 3rd and 9. There is a seed that he throws to Bradley Marquez. And I tell you what, he doesn't need much of a window to thread it in there.
He doesn't, but it's his eyes that help him too. And I thought he did a good job of freezing this defense, not eyeballing Marquez, the receiver.
And got it out quickly. This time he's short gain. Got it out to Marquez again.
But we talked about him having to be able to take what the defense is giving him. And right now, he's not forcing anything into coverage. He's throwing to the open guy, getting through his progressions, and playing on time. And when he does that, this offense looks virtually unstoppable.
Running on 2nd and 9. There's company in the backfield for Quentin White. Ryan Simmons was the first one there.
And I think because he is so in rhythm and on time, you got to do something to disrupt that defensively now. I think you've seen a lot of free access off the line. Oklahoma State's got to challenge these receivers, mess up that timing, and try to get a little pressure on Davis Webb, make him feel a little uncomfortable.
You know, one of the things Cliff Kingsbury talked about was Webb was trying to impress somebody with every throw. Thus far in the first quarter, very patient. Trying to convert again, lofting one out for Grant. It was a little too high for the smaller speedster. Sam Wren applying some of that heat, David.
No, and it's important. And obviously the ball comes out so quick so many times, but just getting a flash of a different color in front of his face so he has to think about it and change that release a little bit. Makes that throw go 6 inches off course and gets a stop. But look, Cliff's like, hey, we're rolling here. Let's get the dice going.
Before on 4th down, they need 6 yards here. Not a lot to gain from a punt. Offensive-minded team. Defense hasn't been good. Why not keep it in Davis Webb's hands? He flips it out to Grant, and he made the catch, and then it came loose at the end, incomplete. Webb took a shot as he delivered it, and he put it on target, but Grant had it jarred away at the end, and the Cowboys get a stop.
It's a great play by Davis Webb, just getting this ball off, lobbing it into Grant's hands, and it's an even better play by Larry Stevens, making the hit on a critical 4th down, popping that ball loose.
Cowboys desperately needed that stop to slow down Texas Tech. Now we'll see what Oklahoma State can do on O.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football is presented by Jimmy John's, great sandwich delivery, and in part by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Out here on the Plains, Pistol Pete is revered. He's been the Oklahoma State mascot since the late 50s. Take a guess at what that big head of that costume weighs.
45.
Right on the money. You stole. I think you looked at the notes.
No, you said it earlier.
No,
He stole it.
You can't keep talking out loud in the pregame.
If Corso put that thing over, he might topple over.
He's done it.
Dax Garman under pressure, and Dax Garman is sacked. They lost to 5 or 6. Brandon Jackson coming from the outside.
One of the biggest issues on this porous defense this year has been the play up front. Not only against the run, but not able to get pressure. But here you're seeing getting pushed. That's right tackle Zachary Crabtree getting walked right into Dax Garman.
Well, they've had defensive problems, but Oklahoma State's had offensive line questions as well. Very inexperienced group. Back to the ground. Tyreek Hill will get back most of what is lost. Mike Smith is calling the defense for Texas Tech tonight for the first time. Their former defensive coordinator, Matt Wallerstedt, resigned after showing up at the football facility under the influence of an unknown substance, as reported by ESPN.com. In conversation this week, Cliff Kingsbury acknowledged that there was a situation, didn't have to do with the Red Raiders' performance on the field, and he accepted Wallerstedt's resignation. And the end of all of it is 6th defensive coordinator in 6 years for the Red Raiders. Garmin throws it as he's being knocked down, and so far, at least in the early going, Mike Smith's defense doing a nice job. Here are all the guys who have called defense for the Red Raiders. Ruffin McNeil, defensive coordinator, before taking over at East Carolina, and you see the guys who've come through there. Some of that has to do, obviously, with the coaching change from Tommy Tuberville and on to Cliff Kingsbury. A 4th down and 11 after good stop by the Red Raider defense, and the freshman from Oklahoma City, Cameron Batson, is back for Texas Tech. Think he'd like to take one back against one of his home state teams? Punt. Takes a poor bounce for Oklahoma State, and the Red Raiders will have it back. You got a sweet stash like that, you got to keep everything nice and well groomed. That's what Pistol Pete's doing. Oklahoma State not the only place that loves orange. Tennessee will go on the road between the hedges to take on Todd Gurley, the Heisman hopeful, and Georgia. Noon Eastern, Saturday, ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. Who's in? Georgia hoping that heartbreaking loss at South Carolina won't hamper their resume with the selection committee at the end. Of course, the Dogs can take care of their own business if they could fight their way through and win the SEC. Davis Webb going to fire one out for Reggie Davis, and those two who hooked up for a touchdown couldn't get together that time. 2nd and 10 coming, but Ashton Lampkin is slow to get up. Lampkin, the junior corner.
And Reese, I think he's their best corner, and this is not an injury that they can afford. You can see he gets tangled up with Reginald Davis going up for that ball and just grabbing his ankle on the ground. It's a great defensive play. The ball actually hits Davis in the chest, but he's able to there break it up. But guys, Oklahoma State is very inexperienced in the back end of this defense. They don't play a lot of subs at linebacker and in the secondary. Ashton Lampkin, to me, he's been their best shutdown man-to-man corner. And in this game where Texas Tech likes to throw it a lot, that could come up big.
Check on his condition when you come back. This could be significant for Oklahoma State. Ashton Lampkin, who has 2 of the Cowboys' 3 interceptions this year, just twisted an ankle in coverage, and stepping into his position at cornerback is Ramon Richards. Now that's Trey Flowers, who's also in the game at safety, but top of your screen is Richards, a true freshman from San Antonio. Davis Webb's going right after him first thing, trying to get DJ Polite-Bray, and they'll welcome Richards into the game with a pass interference penalty, it appears.
We knew coming into this game that they were going to challenge Oklahoma State's secondary anyway. And we thought they'd have a lot of success inside with Jakeem Grant and Bradley Marquez, but now it's outside.
Pass interference. Defense, number 18. 15-yard penalty, automatic. First down.
Well, Richards is a guy they wanted to get some playing time, but not necessarily at the expense of Lampkin. Here's how he got hurt.
Watch his right leg come down right there and roll it all the way over.
Tough-looking injury. Jakeem Grant targeted again by Davis Webb. And that's a good tackle against the speedster from behind, and making the play was Ryan Simmons, the middle linebacker.
And one thing Oklahoma State's defense has done really well all year long is win first down like that and set up 2nd and 3rd and longs. They're the 7th best 3rd down defense in the country because a lot of them are 3rd and 7 and plus. They've got to keep doing that and keep forcing Texas Tech to make big plays on 2nd and 3rd.
Justin Stockton, the freshman, hit in the backfield, slipped away from one, but not the second guy. Simmons was the first to hit him. Emmanuel Ogba got him on the ground.
And we're going to say plenty of Ryan Simmons' name all night. I mean, number 52, linebacker for Oklahoma State. He flies all over the field. The screen game on the outside, he's going to have to get involved in. He's going to have to get involved in the run.
So the question is, up top, are you helping your true freshman corner with safety help? It looks like they are.
There's also a true freshman in the corner at the bottom of the screen too, Jesse. Juwan Ofre has checked in the game.
So you're going to help them both.
So it looks like man-to-man.
Attack the middle of the field.
Yeah, somebody inside for Texas Tech has to win at receiver.
Webb complete. Marquez knocked out of bounds, and Bradley makes another catch. Flowers on the stop, but a first down for the Red Raiders.
So we go back to that, and you've got Marquez inside. He's in the slot right here. He's just going to run kind of a corner. Sorry, he's in the slot even below that right here.
And he snapped it fast, and maybe too fast.
But he found that matchup he wanted.
The ball was not made ready for play. We'll replay first down.
See, Cliff Kingsbury, once they get their first down in a drive, they like to crank up the tempo. And
like all tempo teams.
Yeah. So Mike
Gundy,
Gundy,
saw Malzahn last week pushing that turbo button.
Yeah, Mike Gundy and his staff, they've got to make sure their substitutions are ready, especially when Texas Tech gets that first down of the drive.
Winding inside the 4-minute mark here to play in Stillwater. Texas Tech with a 7-0 lead. Webb faked it, and he threw it away, and there's a flag in the backfield in the area in which one would expect holding. And we'll wait and see what Mike DeFee has to say.
Personal foul, shot block, offense, number 71 and number 8. 15-yard penalty, play first down.
So rather than a hold, it's a chop block, which is a high-low combination block. It can be with or without a delay. You don't have to be engaged to have it called, so there has to be good communication between the lineman and the back to make sure they don't do that.
That's where you're starting right there. Rashad Fortenberry, 71 up top. Yeah, there's the engaged up high, and then there's Stockton at running back cutting his legs out. It's a dangerous play, and it's a good call.
First and 25, Webb overshoots Grant. Second and 25 coming.
That's the inconsistency we're talking about with Davis Webb. I mean, you got a wide open guy. You're playing in rhythm. Nobody got in your face. He got a free release off the line of scrimmage. Those are the throws. If he can consistently hit those throws, this offense is going to be almost impossible to stop.
The key is, though, David, he hasn't forced it into coverage yet and had a key turnover, which has been a big problem he's had early this season.
Good protection. This time, Webb is on target to Grant. Grant's only about 5'6", and that's probably generous, but once he gets his hands on the ball, he can make something happen.
It's okay to be 5'6" when the quarterback puts the ball right in your face. And that was a very accurate throw with a lot of heat.
But it changes Oklahoma State's defense now. You saw when it was 3rd and 5 to 6, they had to play man coverage. Now they can sit back at the sticks and make them go 15 yards with 3rd and long.
Only rushing 3. Webb gets rid of it. Another flag comes down in the backfield, and an excellent play. As David said, we'll be talking about Ryan Simmons a lot, and boy, did he make a fine stop on Quentin White in the open field.
I think they're going to get Fortenberry here with hands to the face, the right tackle. That was in pass protection.
Personal foul, hands to the face, offense, number 71. That penalty's declined. Result of the play, 4th down.
Great coverage by the Oklahoma State defense. Great job. Now you can sit back. If you want to throw that underneath pass on 3rd and 15, all you got to do is come up and make tackles. Great response after that first drive now, the last couple possessions by Oklahoma State defense.
Taylor Semank back to punt it away for Texas Tech. Tyreek Hill, who Gundy wants to touch the ball 20 times tonight. Get a chance to return a punt once they kick it out of bounds or try to force a fair catch. Hill's going to clear out of there. It's a great hop. Did they keep it out of the end zone? They did not. It's a touchback. Remember, only the ball has to cross the plane, and it did. Oklahoma State will have it back in a moment as we check in with Scott Van Pelt.
Reese keeping an eye on Georgia Southern and App State. Georgia Southern really unlucky not to be 4-0. Could have had NC State, could have had Georgia Tech, but Matt Breida finds an opening and takes it right up the gut. In your Dr. Pepper conference update, they lead 10-0. We'll be keeping an eye on this all night. Reese, good to have you back.
It's over.
Scott, thank you very much. Really appreciate all of the outpouring of support after recent loss of my father. Has been great. I appreciate everything, all the kind words that everybody has offered. 1st and 10 after the touchback on the punt. Dax Garman keeping it on the ground. Desmond Rowan running through Texas Tech tacklers, picks up about 4 before he's finally corralled by Austin Stewart. Now let's have a look at the last punt that very nearly was downed on about the 1-yard line. And remember, it's where the ball is, not the player. Excellent call. Touchback. Dax Garman loves to throw the go route, and he does it again. He's got a ball out there. It's complete. It's Marcel Aitman.
Dax Garman is a very natural deep ball thrower, and it's a good idea to target a wide receiver that's 6'4" like Marcel Aitman to go up and high point him.
A pickup of 40, and Oklahoma State tries to pick up the tempo. They go back to the ground, and Texas Tech, in the early going at least, doing a better job against the running game.
And I gotta say, it starts up front. They've done a better job at the point of attack, not getting moved and staying in their gaps. That's the immediate improvement I've seen from defensive coordinator Mike Smith in this Texas Tech run defense.
Garman gonna throw it deep again, looking for a man out there. He's got him, it's a touchdown. James Washington. Did we mention that Dax Garman likes to throw the go?
The problem becomes when you can't stop the run inside, you got to play man-to-man coverage on the outside. Dax Garman goes up top. James Washington, a freshman that you'll hear a lot about throughout his Oklahoma State career.
That was freshman on freshman, David, as Tevin Madison, freshman from Fayette, Alabama, was beaten on the play. Completions of 40 and 33 yards, accounting for 73 of the 80 yards on the drive. And with the extra point from Ben Grogan, if it's true, we'll be tied. It is, and we are. 1:48 to play in the first quarter. Dax Garman getting that big arm loose. We saw some good things from Davis Webb in the beginning. As you see the Oklahoma State rider coming out, the Spirit rider aboard Bullet. How does this game stack up in the first quarter compared to what you thought you might see?
I thought it was going to be close. I still expect to see a lot of points. What, 5 of the last 7 games between these two teams combined 72 points, but was really impressed with Texas Tech defense early, getting a turnover, then forcing a 3 and out. The issue now, though, is the explosive plays. That's going to be key.
Well, and I think Oklahoma State's defense, they're still going to have to find their way, too. They've ran a lot of plays early in this ball game, and they talked about their lack of depth. But I think on the outside, it's hard to cover up on man coverage. They got to break with the penalty. But I think both defenses, you're right, Jesse, they're going to have their hands full tonight. How many can get stops consistently or create turnovers?
And now Gundy's defense undermanned.
Yeah, that's a big-time loss.
Yeah, the Ashton Lampkin, the defensive back who was hurt on the last series, it's forcing a couple of freshman corners into action, particularly when they go to 6 defensive backs, which they did last time. Texas Tech had the ball on one occasion. They had 2 freshmen out there. Jakeem Grant returns to kickoff, and Grant's got an alley, and he's got speed, but there are also flags. Grant can fly. There's an Oklahoma State player down on the turf inside the 20, and the way the flags flew in, typically that means this is going to come back. And Jakeem Grant is a dangerous return guy. And the Oklahoma State player down on the field will work to identify him. Here's the call.
Holding. Return team number 29. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st and 10, Texas Tech.
That's a reserve defensive back, Chris Hardiman, who's still down on the turf.
The holding call was on number 29, Deshaun Johnson.
Let's see if we can figure out what happened.
Taking a look, yeah. He's right in here. That's where it was. I think it was before that. It's kind of hard to tell when I was watching it live where that came from. Right side of the screen, you're going to see 29 right here.
Yeah, that's why those flags came in from the back.
Right there.
Yeah. Almost kind of tackles him on his way down. And that's unfortunate. I mean, that is a huge momentum-shifting play again by Texas Tech to get them back in after giving up a long touchdown pass. We talked about the inconsistencies Texas Tech has had on defense this year, and they're playing well the first 2 series. Still, though, you feel like in order to win this game on the road, a place Sam mentioned earlier, they haven't won in a very long time. The offense has to play at a very high level, and you're going to need to break somewhere on special teams. That was a critical penalty against Cliff Kingsbury and Texas Tech.
And I know that comes back, but I think you see that Jakeem Grant can fly. I mean, you give him some open space.
You got a couple of guys, David, in this game.
Yeah.
Grant, Tyreek Hill from Oklahoma State, that you give them just a little bit of a seam and they can take it. And boy, that's really good news to see Hardiman up and on his feet.
The Cowboys shaping up for number 3, Princess Hardiman.
Well, Jakeem Grant has been a guy that Davis Webb spent a lot of time targeting tonight, and after that kickoff return that was called back, you understand why.
Yeah, they've moved him around in the slot, inside and outside. They've thrown quick screens to him. They've given him underneath throws. They've let him run down the field vertically and find soft spots in the zone. Davis Webb has done a good job IDing him, and when the coverage has dictated it, throwing it to him. 11 throws already. I mean, we're not even done the first quarter yet. I guess this guy was in the game plan.
I think so. He's only averaging 6 yards a catch, but short catch, long run. That's sort of Jakeem's game. And keep it on the ground. Running through tacklers, a strong run from Washington. Washington, that last surge might have picked up first down. If we're going to mark him a little bit short, it appears. It'll be second and short. Webb, play action, firing it deep. Might as well take a shot, but receiver broke off the route, and that'll be third and short.
You see that Oklahoma State's moved the true freshman cornerback Raymond Richards away from the boundary and into the field, protecting him. So on that play, Jordan Stearns was the boundary corner defending that play.
Third down and 1. Red Raiders have been solid on third down in the first quarter, converting 3 of 5 attempts. And now Cliff Kingsbury going to call a timeout. See if they can keep this one going. Samantha's working the sideline. How about the injury to Ashton Lampkin? What do you got for us, Sam?
Yeah, it didn't look good when he came off the field, Reese. He injured that right ankle, was in a ton of pain, but the athletic trainer started working on it and actually taped it back up, which made us all think down here he'd be available to go. As soon as he stood up and tried to put pressure on it, no way he could play football right now. We'll see if he's available after the half.
Well, Samantha, he's a guy that the final play of the game against UTSA, and for those of you not familiar, that's what Texas San Antonio would like to be called, but I'm not sure that that's a part of the common vernacular yet. Final play of the game, Ashton Lampkin had a pick 6. He said he had to get the interception late, or else defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer would have yelled at him all week for not getting a turnover. And boy, Lampkin is not able to put any weight whatsoever on that ankle. Under center, Texas Tech, Davis Webb pushing forward. Just needed a few inches for the first down.
Did you say under center?
Under center.
Huh.
And
that's interesting.
As we get the first down, I'd like to say, I'm just begging you. All of you spread and shotgun teams, just one period a week where you take a snap under center, and when you need 6 inches like Texas Tech just did, let's not snap the ball 5-6 yards backwards.
Preach.
This editorial viewpoint is my own. David Pollock approves of this message. Not sure about Jesse. DeAndre Washington across the 35.
I enjoy playing under center, Reese.
All right, good.
I'll tell you what, Texas Tech up front on the offensive line, they've gotten pretty good push. I know they've come out of this game, they've been throwing it more, but they're having a lot of success running it too, and it's kind of giving them good balance. This offensive line getting a nice push.
Webb looked short. He might have gotten some more yardage if he hadn't made Jakeem Grant go down to the turf to make the grab, but make the grab he did, and it's a first down.
You see the benefit of all those quick screens early. This secondary now for Oklahoma State's playing close to the line of scrimmage. You get an opportunity to pump those and get it downfield.
Half minute to play in the first quarter, and whistles will stop that play.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury's upset about that. He's trying to push this tempo as fast as he can, and after chunk yardage plays downfield, getting his guys lined up.
Did they say the same thing they said a second ago? They snapped it too quick, basically?
Ball was not ready for play.
Well, stop putting the ball down then.
Well, as long
or stand over the ball and don't let them snap it. That shouldn't happen.
This could be, and admittedly, I'm speculating. Okay, they're reviewing the catch.
Oh, okay.
It's not necessarily. That looks clean to me.
He's got to have complete and continuous control through the process of hitting the ground. It looks to me like he did.
I don't really see it.
Yeah, it's under that right arm. I think he's got his right forearm under the ball and between that and the ground.
And remember, it's not that the ball can't touch the ground at all.
Yep.
You just have to
control it.
Yeah, you have to have control, and it appears to me that Grant does.
Yeah. It's interesting, and you kind of mentioned it, Reese. If that ball was thrown better, what could have been on that play? And David had mentioned it earlier. You talk about the consistent accuracy that you're looking for in Davis Webb. Nonetheless, great effort and great job by Grant getting down.
The ruling on the field is confirmed. It was a catch.
We always get annoyed with receivers when they're running down the field and they're wide open and they don't want to stop and go to the ground to catch it. You know, they want to reach back because they know they got so much green in front of it. Sometimes you just want them to secure the catch, right, QB?
Yeah, on Sundays you can get up and go run.
Yeah.
Just as today, on Saturday, I just need you to make the catch.
Or Thursday.
That's right.
Final seconds of the first quarter from Stillwater. Davis Webb taking a shot. Oh, speaking of just making the catch, how about that one from Dylan Cantrell?
Great decision by Davis Webb going after the true freshman Richards. They're taking shots on him, and you tried Dylan Cantrell at 6'3", and that was a beautiful stab.
Quick out to Cameron Batson. Batson, who from not too far away in Oklahoma City, makes the catch and wanted to work him into the game plan, and they have as we come to the end of the first quarter. Red Raiders with the nose of the football touching the red zone, thanks largely to that great grab from Dylan Cantrell. We promised offense, and we are delivering. Raiders and Pokes tied at 7. On campus at Oklahoma State, a little flag football in the afternoon. Spinning the bean.
Poorly.
Got to go with two hands.
And you got to catch that.
You got to make that catch.
That is not football at its finest level.
But it's been pretty good tonight so far. The guys on scholarship, 7-7, first play of the second quarter. Texas Tech throws underneath, and it is picked off. What a tremendous grab by the freshman Ramon Richards. Into the game after Lampkin comes out with an injury, and he comes up with a pick to stop the drive.
And it's a great job. Remember, this was a bootleg. Davis Webb rolls out, and the receiver looked like he was open, but watch this play coming all the way from across the backside. Look at the corner chasing the receiver up top. Watch him undercut it right there. Great speed. Davis Webb has to put some air into that ball and put it out in front, but the freshman running step for step.
He couldn't put it out in front because Larry Stevens at safety number 20 was cutting the angle off. So either he's got to lob this over his head. See, he tries to just kind of fit it in that tight window. That's a great play by the young true freshman that's been picked on early in this game.
Well, Oklahoma State will take over at the 9-yard line. Here's Tyreek Hill. Hill trying to turn the corner and can't. He took a shot. He goes careening into the padded wall.
You hold your breath every time number 24 has the ball in his hands. This is the indoor Big 12 200-meter champion, one of the fastest players in the country. In this stadium, this is like arena football. I mean, those pads, those are close. There's some collisions that go on in there.
Micah Awe might be fortunate that the hanky didn't fly.
I think because the ref got drilled too when he knocked him into Hill.
And second down and 11 facing Dax Garman. Garman inaccurate. It'll be 3rd and 11.
That's been a theme. Very accurate when you throw the ball downfield and you throw go routes, but when you have to complete the short to intermediate throws, he hasn't shown that same level of consistency.
So if I'm Texas Tech, then I don't want to play man coverage. I'm not letting him throw that high lob pass on the outside. I'm sitting back in zone and I'm making him throw the ball into some tight windows.
3rd down and 11 after the defense came up with another stop in the red zone, something Oklahoma State's been great at in the early going this year. Garman to get rid of it and overthrew David Glidden. I believe that's who he was shooting for. Demetrius Alston was applying the heat.
It's a good point, applying the heat. They haven't always been clean throws. You see Mike Smith, the new interim defensive coordinator, all jacked up, and he should be. This defense has been beat up on and off the field all season long. Tonight, though, playing with fire, playing with emotion. That's a direct reflection on this young 33 year-old defensive coordinator.
A Texas Tech graduate. Spent some time with the Jets and has a little bit of an NFL background. As Cameron Batson was hit by a couple of Cowboys just as soon as he caught the punt. And Texas Tech will have it back just on its own side of the 50. No other night is Monday night. The Patriots and the Chiefs, 8:15 Eastern time on Monday night. Tom Brady against Alex Smith. It all start with Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's. Speaking of at least former Patriots now, Wes Welker, an all-time leading receiver in Texas Tech history. You know, Wes's issues, Broncos, well documented. Now, Welker on the sidelines with his alma mater's team. Probably enjoying much of the work done by the wide receivers in the early going. Davis Webb, who threw an interception on his last throw, finds Jakeem Grant. Grant with a terrific move. It's down to the 40. It'll be a first down for the Red Raiders.
So many different things you can do with Jakeem Grant. We talked about him in the backfield and a wide receiver. That's just a jerk. It's called a jerk route, where he stops and then goes. We're having more snap issues at the line of scrimmage here, with Texas Tech trying to go fast.
There's another whistle.
The chains weren't even ready. I mean, they're just now moving the chains right now.
So why do they put the ball down? The ref needs to stand over the ball. It's just a waste of time. You can't let that happen.
Everybody's supposed to move at a crisp jog, they say. You don't rush and get out of sorts in order to let the tempo go, but at the same time, you try not to do things to slow it down. Washington and Stockton in the backfield with Webb. That pass off the mark, looking for Grant again.
You got to have this Big 12 defensive mindset if you're Oklahoma State. Against all these high-octane, up-tempo offenses, you have to just accept you're going to give up yards. But the two key stats are turnovers and red zone defense. And so far, Oklahoma State has been forcing field goals, not allowing touchdowns. Second best in the country when they get in that area. You saw they came up with that pick on the last drive.
To the ground in Washington. He makes a nifty move. Washington still on his feet inside the 30. DeAndre Washington, a junior from Missouri City, Texas, healthy and ready to carry the load to pick up a 14.
And Trace Clark, number 90, sitting right there waiting for him.
Nope.
Not a chance.
Webb with the pump fake, throwing it out, and that ball is almost intercepted. Kevin Peterson on the coverage.
It's something to watch, David, is this offensive line from Texas Tech. That's easily the biggest improvement they have on offense this year. Last year, they were bad. Couldn't run the ball. They had to throw a lot of short throws. This year, they can block and let Davis Webb take shots downfield, but they're running it. They're averaging 170 rushing yards a game. You got to go back to Spike Dykes.
Who?
In the late 90s, their head coach, since they've run the ball as well as they have.
Give me a who on Spike Dykes, the father of Texas Tech football.
Just a lot of the youngsters at home don't know that name.
They played ball before Leach went there. Little tunnel, got it out to a receiver, let the man run. Devin Lauderdale made a catch earlier, and there's another flag down. Got the ball to Lauderdale earlier in the game. And another defensive back down for Oklahoma State. That's Larry Stevens, the safety. Oh boy, this was already the entire squad is an area of concern in terms of experience for Oklahoma State. They are the least experienced team in the country. They've already lost one cornerback, and now Stevens is on the ground.
Illegal blocking below the waist. Offense number 4. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Replay second down.
Calling it on Bradley Marquez, the wide receiver for Texas Tech.
They've been very specific about when blockers are allowed to block below the waist downfield. It's a safety issue. You have to be able to see it coming. Let's see if we can figure out what Marquez did wrong. You have to come. You have to come from in front of him from a 10-to-2 shoulder kind of angle, and Marquez was outside of that.
Shoot, his other guy was engaged with him too, so kind of.
It's almost a
It might have been a chop too at the same time, but you could tell he definitely landed on that ankle. Stevens.
And another critical penalty for Texas Tech. We saw in the kick return score, Jakeem Grant thought he had. Came back because of a penalty. Now you get a big chunk gain that puts you in the red zone. Now you're moving yourself backwards, 2nd and long, getting out of field goal range.
Well, look, this is nothing new for Texas Tech to get penalized. I mean, they're averaging 10 penalties a game, 88 yards. It's in the bottom 4 or 5 in the country, and it's been that way in the last couple of years. Davis Webb going to throw back shoulder, and he's got his man Cantrell with the catch. Let's see where they spot it. They're going to spot it right at the first down marker.
There is no defense for a perfect throw. And Kevin Peterson had tremendous coverage on the 6'3" wide receiver. Davis Webb, though, just too good.
Keep it on the ground with Quentin White, and they did give him the first down on that.
This is like me throwing to David Pollock yesterday out on the field, working on our back shoulder fades in the red zone. I mean, that's just, there's nothing you can do about that.
You don't throw the ball that good, I'm sorry.
A little bit more air.
Yeah.
No, you know, it takes time now to get it kind of loose, you know?
That happens when you turn the corner toward your late 30s. 2nd down, Webb throwing to the end zone. He's got Marquez out there, and it's his 6th touchdown catch of the year.
And again, Davis Webb going after the true freshman Richards, who he's tried to pick on when he's found his one-on-one matchup. You'll see here at the very bottom of the screen, there's number 4, Marquez. He's just running a straight go route, and the young true freshman corner's got his eyes caught in the backfield, and he's not looking at the receiver, and he gets run right by. That's too easy for Davis Webb.
Marquez was tied for 3rd in the nation with touchdown catches, and now he has his 6th. And Texas Tech, Samantha Ponder mentioned in the open, they haven't won in Stillwater since 2001 with the Red Raiders. Come out, guns up. Texas Tech with a 14-7 lead on the strength of Davis Webb's 2nd touchdown toss of the night. And the erstwhile Mets outfielder, at least Mets minor league outfielder, makes a major league touchdown catch. Celebrating its 10th year sponsoring the Good Hands Field Goal Nets, Allstate makes contributions to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kick. Since 2005, Allstate has contributed more than $3.4 million in scholarship funds. 3 extra points tonight, 2 of them belonging to the Red Raiders as they kick off after their latest touchdown. Tyreek Hill has not been able to get loose yet tonight. The speedster, very well covered by Micah Awe, the linebacker, as we check in with Scott Van Pelt.
Reese, a Dr. Pepper conference update. They played one of the more entertaining games of the season a year ago. Rare to get the SEC in that noon window on ESPN then, but that's when we will see Tennessee and Georgia. The steep hill to climb for Tennessee gets steeper. Josh Smith, the freshman, ruled out. A couple of receivers down as Tennessee takes on Georgia at noon. Back to you, Douglas.
And Scott, Butch Jones doing a good job rebuilding that volunteer program. They lost their entire offensive and defensive lines from a year ago. Got some skill guys back, but now dealing with some injuries as Oklahoma State goes to the ground. That has been the Achilles heel for Texas Tech's defense. Prior to that run, they'd only allowed 15 yards rushing, now up to about 24.
It's good they're running the ball, Reese, because they have to stay on the field. Their defense has already played for 42 snaps.
2nd and short, Garmin going up top, and he overshoots Aitman.
But they're obviously looking for points, no doubt about that. But staying on the field and getting a drive going, because we talked about that Oklahoma State defense. They're not very deep. They don't play a lot of subs. They've got a couple key injuries now. You've got to help them out.
They lost 2/4 of their starting secondary. And they're going 5 wides almost every single play. So I definitely agree. They're deep at the defensive line, keep rotating. But Dax has got to make some throws here for him now, too.
2/4 or a half.
Reverse, Garmin trying to get a block, and Washington, who had the touchdown, really broke stride, and I think he would have been better off just continuing to lower his head and see if he could sneak out that first down. James Washington had the touchdown grab, gets stopped, and that is the 3rd 3-and-out for Oklahoma State, and Texas Tech has already snapped it 42 times with a 11 and change left to play in the 2nd quarter, and you have to start wondering about the stamina of the Oklahoma State defense really soon, to your guys' point.
I wonder how many people at home are Oklahoma State fans are going, did we just run a reverse on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2?
Against the defense that's giving up 295 rushing yards a game, you don't feel like you can just line up and run the ball straight forward.
That's a problem.
Interesting.
The weak point for Oklahoma State has been its offensive line. And they are, look, I think it's easy to watch the Arkansas game and say, hey, just line up and run at these cats. They don't have an offensive line like Arkansas. They don't have big, giant running backs really like Jonathan Williams and Alex Collins either, though they do have the great speed from Hill and the consistency from Rowland. Good punt, drives Batson back close to his 20. Now Batson gets a block, and he's got room. And Batson still on his feet. There's a flag down as Batson, the kid from Oklahoma City, has a tremendous run. There's a lot of celebrating going on, but there's a flag sitting at the 37-yard line. There's a couple of flags down, actually, on the play, so likely second return of the night. Sizable one coming back for Texas Tech, and another Oklahoma State player slow to get up. Mike DeFee over explaining the call to Kingsbury. There was the block in the back.
A lot of bodies flying around. Look at that sideline, too, for Texas Tech. They're excited.
There were a couple of blocks in the back, and we'll see exactly which ones got nabbed and where that's going to mean the ball will be spotted. But it was still a dynamic return by the freshman Batson.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Return team number 22. That penalty being forced 10 yards from the end of the kick. After the play, personal foul, late hit out of bounds. Kicking team number 22. 15-yard penalty after enforcement of the live ball foul. 1st and 10, Texas Tech.
Okay, so step off the illegal block in the back.
Timeout.
And then they'll step off the personal foul. Here's a late hit, out of bounds, got to stop there. Can't lower that head either. Flag comes out.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football is brought to you by State Farm. For auto, home, life, and banking, get to a better state. And Chevrolet, find new roads.
Decorating the walls of Mike Gundy's office, the jerseys of players who have been drafted. The first smaller group of jerseys were his first-round draft picks, and Mike's got a really good view of Boone Pickens Stadium. Facilities here are terrific. It's really helped Oklahoma State emerge as a power in the Big 12. You want to know how costly the block in the back penalty was for Texas Tech? If not for the block in the back, they would have gotten the 37-yard return and a 15-yard penalty for the late hit. They would have had the ball on the Oklahoma State 26. Instead, they put it in play from their own 26. DeAndre Washington gets up to about the 35, pickup of 9 on first down.
Another reason you run the ball more is not just the offensive line. They've got 3 good backs. Justin Stockton, Quentin White, and DeAndre Washington, who tonight we've already seen make plays.
Quick snap, Webb going to take a shot. Davis Webb looking for Reginald Davis, and Davis, who caught the touchdown pass, couldn't get that one, and Ramon Richards on the coverage.
But you've seen a little bit of everything from Davis Webb tonight, and he's throwing the deep ball, putting plenty of arc underneath it. His guys always have a chance to make the play. Oklahoma State's coverage on the outside and man coverage has been pretty good. You'd think probably see more of it.
You know, Richards got beat for that touchdown in the end zone, but he's made a couple of good plays, including the interception.
He's playing zone. He was peeking in the backfield. Play man, you get your eyes on your guy. It makes it a little bit easier.
There he is, pressed into service when Ashton Lampkin hurt an ankle early in this game. 31. First down picked up by Quentin White.
Reese is squirming over here because he's in the shotgun.
That's okay. That's our style. It's like a full yard. I'm just, you know, get down
inches,
in the red
6
zone.
inches.
Getting all anxious.
Yeah. Webb going to take another shot. He had a man running open down the middle of the field, and Richards was all over Davis again. Looked like he might have had a hold of him. And applying the pressure was Emmanuel Agba, but there is a flag in the backfield. I think there's going to be a roughing the passer call.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense number 38. Hit to the head of the quarterback. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
The penalty on Agba negates the good defensive play by Richards. Here's the hit.
What's the flag on?
I'm not sure.
I know they wear green jerseys in practice. I didn't know they wore them in the game.
That one might have been a little too protective there, and a costly one for Oklahoma State. Their third penalty for 45 yards. Hand off to Stockton. He's stopped for a short gain.
This is going to be key for Oklahoma State. You see a great play there by Howtow making the tackle. We talk about all this man coverage Oklahoma State is playing. And that's because right now they've struggled stopping the run when they've only had 5 and 6 guys in the box. If they can continue to do that more, they can help out their young true freshman corner on the outside with more zone like you're seeing here.
When I said short gain, I meant short, like maybe a millimeter. Second and 10 for Davis Webb. Webb, Jakeem Grant's inside the 30. He slips one tackle before Simmons knocks him out of bounds. It'll be another first down for the Red Raiders.
It's part of what you love about watching Davis Webb. It's the mobility for a guy that's 6'5". And he's not Cam Newton when he's running with the ball, but he can't get out of the pocket and make plays. You're seeing again here.
Oh, I'm about to lose it. I'm seriously about to lose it.
Yeah, I think Cliff Kingsbury is too.
Offense, number 11. Never got set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Good. You know what? If the refs aren't ready and you're trying to quick snap it too quick and they're saying it's too fast, it's a false start penalty. Make sure all your guys are set, but the ref's not even out of the way yet. They're trying to snap the ball.
You see who the 8th official. It's been part of the duty of the extra official to try to get the ball spotted for play.
Watch down here, man to man.
The throw was a little bit behind Davis. He made a nice spinning catch just inside field goal range for the Red Raiders.
What, you like as a quarterback seeing that freshman one-on-one on the outside?
Any shot, any chance you can take if you're Davis Webb. It doesn't really matter who the wide receiver is on him. And I know this young Richards, he's made some plays tonight, but you've also taken him downtown. And Reginald Davis, number 2, he's going to keep getting more chances. He's had 2 go routes already on this drive that he could have caught, that he dropped. So he's going to have to step up and start making plays because he's going to have the chances.
Webb dropped the snap, picked it up, threw it underneath, and it's incomplete. And that play just got messed up from the beginning, and DeAndre Washington took a shot.
Nice job by Webb not just freaking out and jumping on this ball. See, the snap's a little bit low. Still one he should have caught. Oh, see, you wonder if his knee kind of touched when he had the ball. Yeah.
See if it came back up. It was tough to tell from that angle whether it had come back off the turf as he picked up the ball.
So big third down for this Oklahoma State defense.
And we've already seen them go for it on 4th down, so you just try to get half of this. Say you're going to go for it on 4th.
Some heat coming from Oklahoma State, and it's picked up nicely. Webb rolling out, throws it underneath, and Marquez dropped it. Fourth down and 10.
That time, defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer wanted Davis Webb to think he had a chance down here throwing the out route, but watch number 95 get underneath this throw. He's got a lot of access. That's a great job play calling by Glenn Spencer, defensive coordinator, forcing Davis Webb to go somewhere else with the ball, disguising that coverage.
They got to do a better job of keeping the quarterback in the pocket. Seen a couple times in that drive. Davis Webb, all the room in the world to buy time and extend plays. That means you just have to cover longer in the back end.
Ryan Buston, the smooth lefty kicker, was good from 52 in warm-ups. His career long is 50. He's got one on the way, and he hit the upright, but there's going to be a delay of game penalty.
Prior to the snap, delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Now those are the kind it drive you nuts.
Not when it hits the crossbar. You're actually all right with that as a coach. Oh, we missed that. We're going to punt it now, probably.
Now you're probably 5 yards out of his range or 3 or 4 yards out of his range, and they bring the punt unit on.
But guys, how many penalties on special teams for Texas Tech tonight that have been costly? And obviously that one ricochets off the post, but again, you had a kick return touchdown called back because of a penalty. You mentioned it before in the previous drive. They don't get those penalties, they're starting way down into Oklahoma State territory. They've got to clean up and play smarter in this aspect of the game.
Simek dropped the snap, and he can't get it off. He flipped it out to Cantrell, and it's the Oklahoma State special teams taking advantage. Now, they might have called that, they call that an incomplete pass. If it went forward as Simek just tried to get rid of it, it might have been an incomplete pass. Either way, Oklahoma State's going to get the ball.
He looked like he definitely threw it forward.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete forward pass. The ball goes over on downs, first down.
But you just talked about it, Jesse. Kick return called back, missed field goal, now this. Special teams not special.
Texas Tech has run 50 plays to just 17 for Oklahoma State, but they're only up by 7. Just because he's supposedly the coolest cat in college coaching doesn't mean that Cliff Kingsbury can't go nuclear, especially when you see some of the miscues that his team has had, particularly on special teams. The latest blunder, a dropped snap on a punt, which gives Oklahoma State the ball on its own 39-yard line, trailing 14-7. And Cowpokes need to stay on the field for a little while to give that defense a rest. We'll run it on the ground and find a little running room to the outside with Desmond Rowland.
Well, if you're going to stay on the field, how about you run the ball twice in a row? Or keep prodding this defense. This defense has been horrible. Texas Tech's against the run. I know you want to play action, but stick to the ground and pound for a little bit.
Nope. They'll throw it over the middle. It's a strike incomplete to Marcel Aitman.
I think it shows you the confidence they have in their offensive line, or the lack thereof. And this is a problem Oklahoma State really has never had under Mike Gundy. They've always been one of the best rushing teams in the Big 12, but because of that inexperience up front, especially at center, right guard, and right tackle, they don't feel comfortable running.
Rowland's in the backfield after completed pass. Dax Garman's going to throw it again. Garman's throwing it down the middle of the field, and he's got his man complete, and right on the edge of the goal line is Jeremy Seaton. That was an accurate ball from Garman.
It was lately thrown. He had that right off the snap. He had that available. See if they can get the pay dirt.
And see if Texas Tech can get all their players lined up. They'll keep it on the ground. Into the end zone for the touchdown is Rowland. Well, the Cowboy defense is not going to get a lot of rest, but I think they'll take it anyway with the score.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right with that. Finally putting a couple plays together.
So much for running it.
Yeah, they ran at the end. They ran at the beginning and the end.
Little bookend to the chagrin and dismay of the Texas Tech band.
Play a bit of a mournful tune as they are down in the corner of the end zone opposite where Rowland just scored the touchdown. Ben Grogan for the tie. The man who led the Big 12 in touchdowns with 16 a year ago goes in, and Dax Garman finding his tight end Jeremy Seaton to set up the score. We're locked at 14.
The 1988 winner of the Heisman Award is Barry Sanders of Oklahoma State University.
How about the look from Barry Sanders, who won the 1988 Heisman Trophy, one of the most prolific rushing seasons we've ever seen. Barry Sanders, we saw that he was on a satellite feed when he won the Heisman Trophy because he had a game that day in Tokyo, Japan. So I've given you part of the Athletic Trivia question, which will be coming up in a moment. That's not the entire answer. It's just a hint. An appetizer, if you will.
Amuse-bouche, maybe, some might say.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Yeah, you got me on that one, too.
Back to football.
Jakeem Grant I'm told it's a small appetizer.
And everybody
Josie
knows
Kim
that, except the two guys I'm in the booth with.
Yeah, well,
pick your game up. Pick
I'm not
your game
very
up.
bright, so we know that.
Here's the Aflac trivia question. Who are the only 5 Heisman winners to play in a game on the same day they won the award? So you know one of them. I told you it was Barry Sanders. Who are the other 4? Hashtag is Aflac trivia.
And if you get that, you cheated.
Well, we got 4 of them.
Yeah, we.
Well, actually, I got 4 of them, but the other one of my partners should have known. That's another. What was that word again? With those words?
Amuse-bouche?
Yes. Add that to my vocabulary list later. Davis Webb, meanwhile, taking small bites of yardage and completing it to Reginald Davis.
Small bites is okay. What Oklahoma State has to stop giving up is explosive plays. They've been normally very good at that in the Big 12 the last couple of years, but this year they had already given up 13 of those coming into this game, most in the Big 12. They've given up a couple tonight already. That's got to stop. Make this offense drive the field.
To the ground for the amuse-bouche in the first down.
Yes. That's enough. That's enough small appetizers.
Your turn, Pollock.
I have nothing.
1st and 10 for the Red Raiders. Davis Webb this time going for the whole steak, and Jakeem Grant just flat dropped it. There is a flag down in the backfield.
That's not the first drop ball. That's 3 or 4 now for Texas Tech receivers, and they've been open too. They got to help Davis Webb out.
Holding. Offense. Number 56. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's the 8th penalty on Texas Tech already.
Well, I said it earlier, David. It's not surprising. I mean, this is a highly penalized team, one of the most penalized teams in the country, averaging about 10 per game. It was one of the off-season goals for Kingsbury and his staff to cut down on that type of thing. Not successful at that in this game in the first half. It'll be 1st down and 20 after the 10-yard step off. Washington fighting his way back to about the 21-yard line before Sam Wren stops him. And 2nd down and 14 coming as we're inside the 6-minute mark here in the 2nd quarter from Stillwater. Davis Webb, it's intercepted off the deflection. Kevin Peterson making the pick, and Oklahoma State's in business. Now there is a flag on the play. If this stands, it'll be the 2nd interception Webb's thrown tonight.
After the interception, first personal foul, unnecessary roughness, intercepting team number 98. 5th-yard penalty from the dead ball spot. It'll be Oklahoma State's ball, 1st down.
They'll get the ball, but not quite the field position they wanted after Ofa Hautau is called for the personal foul.
We talked about decision-making for Davis Webb, not forcing the football like he got in trouble early this year. This throw's open early. He's late getting rid of it, and that's Josh Furman at linebacker. Is just able to get a little hand on this. If you let go of that football a little bit sooner, he has that completion. It's a great job on the concentration catch by Kevin Peterson, but you see so much good in Davis Webb. Yeah. And then there's those types of plays that just break your heart if you're Cliff Kingsbury and Texas Tech.
You'd expect Furman to be able to play the ball. He's a transfer from Michigan, played defensive back there. They moved him up to linebacker. He made a fine play to set up the turnover. Now Dax Garman going to try to strike quickly. Garman throwing it into double coverage, and it's caught! Touchdown! James Washington for the 2nd time tonight. "39 yards, and Washington, the tremendous athlete as a freshman, making the grab.
I love the play call by Mike Yursich. Sudden change situation after a turnover, take a shot. But if you're Texas Tech, you've got 2 defenders around this football. You've got to think someone's knocking it down. They just get completely turned around.
Well, they picked each other off the coverage. It's not necessarily a microcosm of Texas Tech's defensive struggles. Most of that has come against the run, but Not exactly a well-oiled machine, and though they got off to a good start, now suddenly Oklahoma State has the lead, 21-14. Penalties, turnovers, mistakes. As we take another look at the play that set it up, the interception by Peterson after the Furman deflection.
And Davis Webb stares down his potential target. You see it all the time. As soon as you create a turnover, sudden change, offensive coordinators like to take shots down the field when you got the momentum change and cash it in. Now, you know what? Forget the ground and pound, eat the clock, time of possession, forget it. Oklahoma State realizes that their biggest advantage, I guess they feel, is Dax Garman throwing down the field, and he's throwing some great balls.
You know, Mike Gundy was telling us, you had a look at James Washington, a great story about Washington. He played at a small high school in Texas, and at one point during his high school career, the tennis coach at his school said, hey, you know, we've had an injury, we need you to come join the tennis team if you can. He'd never played before. Such tremendous hand-eye coordination. He finished second in the state.
That's crazy.
That's
tennis.
just silly.
It's a ridiculous athlete, and he's had a couple of touchdowns tonight. Jakeem Grant's going to bring it out of the end zone. And he stopped short of the 20, and Cowpokes starting to feel it a little bit. Let's answer the Aflac trivia question now. Gave you one of the answers, who are the only 5 Heisman winners to play in a game on the same day that they won the award. 5 guys are Ty Detmer, Andre Ware, Barry Sanders, who we told you, Doug Flutie, who was brought into New York by helicopter, I believe, after his game. I think Boston College played Holy Cross that day, and the one that Pollock didn't know is from his alma mater, Frankie Sinkwich.
Come on.
He's before your time a little.
I didn't have a clue. You're right.
Doug Flutie travels like you, Reese. Those copters. Must be nice.
Hey.
Making that coin.
You obviously have me confused with someone. I don't have the swag copter like Kevin Sumlin. Davis Webb, that was almost Wade Peterson. If he'd been a step quicker, he might have gotten another one and housed it.
And they've had enough of the quick passing game. All eyes on the quarterback, breaking on the ball quickly. Davis Webb, he's looking where he's throwing. Right there, twice, 2 times in a row. Great job by Peterson. They're playing freshmen. Had a couple guy go down. It's been next man up in the secondary.
And I think Texas Tech can get back to running the ball then. They've had some success early in this game. They're getting some push. You can keep doing that.
They're going to throw it. Webb to Grant, and Jakeem holds on this time up across the 35. First down, Red Raiders.
Have you met Cliff Kingsbury? He's just like you, man. He's a quarterback. This offense, they run to keep you off balance. They don't want to throw it. They don't want to run it consistently, do they? And they've had success.
They run it here, snapped it quickly, and nope. Nothing doing on the run for Washington.
But they've had the most success throwing it when they've had man-to-man opportunities outside. And we've watched the last couple series. They're not going to get many of those opportunities anymore if they can't run the ball more consistently and force an extra defender back into the box.
Headed toward the 4-minute mark. Webb taking a shot. Good coverage out there. It was knocked away as Batson was going up to try to haul it in. 3rd down and 10 coming.
Very big getting Larry Stevens, number 20, back on the field. Remember, he went down with an injury early. That's really good coverage right there. But another opportunity, a big play downfield that Texas Tech wide receivers have not been able to come up with. Talk about shooting themselves in the foot, setting up yet another 3rd and long.
Can't let Davis Webb outside the pocket. I've done it too many times on 3rd down.
Stirring up the noise near Boone Pickens Stadium. Webb not close to DJ Polite-Bray. It'll be 4th down.
And you have to mix it up on this quarterback and on this offensive system. You can't play the same defense the whole time. And they just brought 3 rushers this time. They let him outside the pocket again. But Davis Webb, the coverage was still great on the back end. They got Davis Webb guessing a little bit now, making a few mistakes.
That was the 60th play that Texas Tech has run. Now, whether they'll have to execute, obviously you have to be efficient with those plays. But you wonder about the toll that it'll take in the second half if it does. Oklahoma State's found a little offensive rhythm. Tyreek Hill, we expected to hear a lot from him tonight, but the Red Raiders have done a nice job keeping him bottled up. The Cowboys will have it back at their own 20. Saturday night football. Notre Dame taking on Syracuse, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Terrell Hunt and the Orange. Tough one against Maryland. Everett Golson has just been terrific. Yeah, a little news from Notre Dame, too. They're going to have the hearings for the suspended 5 guys. Perhaps reinforcements coming. That's speculative. Don't know what the result of those hearings would be, but it would be quite a boost for the Irish, who are certainly in the mix. Ranked 8th in the AP right now. Those college football rankings brought to you by Capital One. Staple on Thursday night. We'll tell you how we would stack things up if we were the committee. David, Jesse, Samantha, and I. What comes up a little bit later on is Tyreek Hill carries the ball for a short gain.
So far, Texas Tech's defense has done a good job bottling him up when he's had the ball. Impressed. Watch these guys fly around.
You know, Garmin's looking for the go. And he's going to run it. Doing his best, J.W. Walsh, and picking up a first down.
It's not something he does very often. You can tell he wants to throw it once he gets outside the pocket. If he's got a deep route somewhere on the field, that's generally where he's going to look. I mean, I'm going back and watching their game against UTSA. I counted 13 go throws that he tried to look up. He always knows where that route is, every given play.
This time on the ground, and a big hole right up the middle for Desmond Rowland. Now that's the type of efficiency you want right there. 25 plays, 21 points.
60 plays for Texas Tech and only 14 points.
They've been hurt by a couple of turnovers. Penalties have also been a problem. Rowland back to the ground. He's dragged down. I think big Rika Levy was in on that tackle, all 350-ish of him.
Well, you want to see the energy maintain and stay high for Texas Tech. Started off this game very confident, had some stops. Now all of a sudden Oklahoma State started to gash them a little bit. How did they respond right now? That's what you're worried about, I think, if you're Texas Tech.
Back to Rowland. Rowland got 5. Powering ahead, maybe 5.5.
Very bad run defense coming into this game. And then there's a perfect formula for that. And David, you can talk to this better than anybody, but not fitting your gaps, guys getting moved up front, and not tackling. It's been a big issue.
36 missed tackles through 3 games.
Oof.
Most in the Big 12. Rowland going to be about a yard short in the first down.
When things were going wrong to start the game, you figured they'd do more of this. Lining up, pounding the football, but pound and then play action deep has been their recipe so far.
3rd down and 1. Rowland hitting the backfield with a nice spin and good effort. Desmond get the first down, so the clock will stop with 1:39, long enough for them to move the chains.
That's part of the problem if you're Texas Tech, because guys have had opportunities on film to make plays, like right there at the line of scrimmage. But instead, guys get run over, they miss tackles, and it's been frustrating for Cliff Kingsbury and this coaching staff not being able to finish.
Play action, go deep here.
Watch Tyreek Hill, David, if they do that. Yep. He's coming in motion now. They might try to get him on a go. Now they've got a little throwback special. Garmin wanting to unload it, but he takes the underneath throw, and it's incomplete.
You disappointed he took the underneath route?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He had a guy running deep. Come on.
But the play calling with Dax Garmin, guys, it resembles more when they had Brandon Whedon.
Yeah.
Run, take a shot downfield. It was very different when J.W. Walsh was under center because of his running ability, and you changed the play calling. But this looks back to what we saw when Todd Monken was calling plays. You see J.W. Walsh here at the game.
Foot injury keeping J.W. out. Dax Garmin pressed into service. Rennie Childs getting a carry, and he's going to lose a couple. 3rd down at about 12 coming. V.J. Fehoko making the stop along with Brandon Jackson.
And this is where Dax has struggled. When they get in 3rd and long and there's not the threat of the play action pass, he's kind of struggled to throw into tight windows.
We saw the numbers that J.W. Walsh put up against Florida State. 1:03 to play here in the first half as we check in with Scott Van Pelt.
Priest, Mark, and Brian are standing by for the Jaguar halftime report. Their thoughts on this interesting half. Texas Tech running all the plays, but Oklahoma State with the lead. The fellas will also make some picks for the games coming up this weekend. And as we inch a little bit closer towards October, we start talking about some names to keep an eye on for the Heisman. Don't know if we'll hear the name Prescott. If we don't, I'll say it. Back to you.
Scott, I'm with you. I mean, he's not the front runner, but Dak Prescott is somebody that has to be considered. I mean, he at least put himself on the periphery of the discussion with that performance against LSU this weekend.
You know who the first person to say that was? Jesse Palmer last year in the Egg Bowl at the end of the season. He said, look out for Dak Prescott being a dark horse for the Heisman. And you've already started to see it with a big win, statement win, going into Baton Rouge.
Guys, I'm a genius. I don't know what to say.
I talked to Dak today, actually, and he said to send along his best. He's appreciative for the pub you've given him, JP.
I accept bribes.
No payola here, partner. Garmin going to throw another go, this time in good possession, but not making the plays. A defensive back, Marcel Aitman, still on his feet. It'll be 1st and goal for Oklahoma State. Justice Nelson appeared to be in position, but couldn't make the play. Pickup of 41 with under a minute to go.
It's the second time they've targeted the 6'4" wide receiver on a go route. And Justice Nelson at 6'2" is not a bad size matchup. He's got to make that play.
The previous play is under further review.
I don't understand why Texas Tech wants to continue to play man coverage on the outside. Every time Dax Garmin sees it, he throws it up to one of his playmakers downfield, and they've been making plays for him all game. I didn't know if this was even in question, if he caught it or not, but.
Okay, they're not questioning the catch. Obviously, they're questioning the spot. They're trying to make sure that they got the spot right. And Aitman's probably fortunate to get that left leg out of there without any injury.
But why not drop 8, Jesse, and make him throw the ball into some tight windows?
Yeah. It's a pick your poison dilemma, which I understand at Texas Tech because of the porous run defense, having to commit more bodies to stop the run. But in some of these more obvious passing situations,
with 50 seconds left on the clock.
And with the way that they've burned you on the outside tonight, you've got to put, I think, more trust. I know it's hard to do that when you're front 7 and everybody else has given up almost 300 rushing yards a game. But I think now if you're Mike Smith, you've kind of seen this unfold in front of you. This game could get away from you very, very quickly if you don't start giving the secondary more help.
Dax Garmin's thrown for over 200 yards in the first half so far.
It's going to be big. I mean, Texas Tech right now, red zone situation. They need to force a field goal because Oklahoma State's going to get the ball back right away in the second half. And if you allow a touchdown, make this a 2-touchdown game, again, you potentially blow this thing wide open and make it much tougher for Davis Webb and this offense to come back from.
We've talked about Garmin wanting to throw it deep. He's got 5 completions tonight of 28 yards or longer. 2 of them longer than 40. Texas Tech's on the ropes. Desmond Rowland is stopped. Oklahoma State's got all 3 of its timeouts here, so they could afford to try the run.
And remember, when J.W. Walsh is in the game at quarterback here, it's a lot more dangerous because of his running threat. Florida State found that out week 1. Now, you got a guy in Dax Garmin, it's a lot more obvious what they're probably going to do. We haven't seen him run very much at all. However, when he has been playing, again, there's no mystery. When shots, when there's opportunities, this guy's looking deep down the field.
Yeah, and he made the mistake early, obviously, in the game, and you thought maybe he couldn't handle the situation. But man-to-man coverage on the outside, you see him. He's throwing the ball high and on the outside so his receivers can go up and make big plays, whether it's freshmen on the outside. It doesn't matter who you are on the outside. If he sees you, he's going to throw it up.
You know, Gundy said yesterday that some guys practice their whole lives and they don't ever develop the knack for throwing the deep ball. That's what he does, deep and outside, and it's also relatively safe to throw out there. So Texas Tech, one would think you've got to try to force him to throw it into the middle of the field where there's more traffic, windows are smaller, and more margin for error.
Well, and it's hard down here. This is where it's interesting because we've talked about how his short to intermediate accuracy isn't as good. So when you're in this area of the field and the windows are a lot smaller, can he be precise?
Yes, throw fades to the top to Mr. Washington or the bottom, wherever you got man coverage.
Washington has 2 touchdown catches. Garmin not really looking his way, now throwing it to the back of the end zone, and it's intercepted. Threw it into traffic, into the middle, and it's picked off by Deshaun Johnson.
It's just what we talked about. When you got a lot of bodies, it's easy to see one-on-one outside and say, that's the shot I'm taking. But when there's bodies moving around in front of you and you're playing fast, it becomes a lot different. The picture can get muddled.
Well, here's the other thing, too, as we watch what happened with Garmin. His inexperience putting it in traffic, and he basically took 3 points off the board.
So give Texas Tech credit, guys, defensively. That was a huge stop that we talked about they needed to have, try and maintain momentum.
Justice Nelson was the guy who deflected the ball before Deshaun Johnson, the freshman from Ennis, Texas, had the pickoff.
And how big would have been, too, if they score there and they get the ball after the half.
Yeah. Even if you just...
Now, this is, I'm giving Texas Tech credit, too, but this is a horrible throw.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you throw that ball high and out of the back of the end zone where he can try to go get it and only he can catch it. But I also don't like the play call that much either. He's been throwing balls to the outside the whole game and having success. Why not throw a fade to one of your guys on the outside?
It looked like immediately, if he had looked to the top, he had a shot, at least giving James Washington a chance to catch it, as Gundy counseling his new quarterback when he'll get another shot to start the second half. Samantha Ponder is with Cliff Kingsbury.
Coach, obviously a huge pick there, but when it comes to the deep ball tonight, they're having success. How do you have to adjust to that defensively?
Got to make plays. You know, their guys are going up making plays, our guys aren't. Had a bunch of chances, just not making them.
You talked about Davis Webb pressing in the last few games. What are you seeing out of him tonight?
The same thing. You know, same thing. We just got to get better.
Appreciate your time, Coach. Thanks.
All right, Sam, Cowboys on top of the Red Raiders, 21-14 at the break. Time to go to the Jaguar halftime report with Mark May, Brian Greasy, and Scott Van Pelt. All yours, Scott.
Reese, thank you so much. What an odd half. Statistically, you're talking about 44 passes for Webb. That's more than anybody's thrown in the first half all season long. And we're guilty of hyperbole in sports. You turn something into a had to have it. Texas Tech had to have that stop, or it all falls apart. Am I right?
Absolutely. And if you look at their offense, they had 61 plays that they're in the first half. They just couldn't get off the field. And Oklahoma State's defense couldn't make stops. And when you look at Oklahoma State, this is a team that you go into this game and you're looking at Texas Tech's defense. Dead last in the conference in total yards, dead last in the conference in scoring defense, dead last in the conference in rushing defense. So what happens? They don't even run the ball to the end of the first quarter. They have 7 rushing attempts the entire quarter till that last drive where they had 11 rushing attempts. So that's what they have to do in the second half. Keep your defense off the field. Run the football. Keep pounding the rock if you want to win this game.
You know, the game couldn't have started any better for Texas Tech. I mean, they came out, they got up, they got a stop on defense.
Great tempo, right?
They had tempo, and then you throw 2 interceptions if you're Davis Webb. You just don't have that luxury. You know that Oklahoma State was going to score on your defense. You just didn't have the luxury of turning the ball over twice in the first half.
Had to have a stop. They got it. Whether there's credit should be given, whether it was an awful throw, whether it's a little bit of both, at least Kingsbury's guys going to half, not down 2-1 after almost running a 2-1 advantage in plays at the half. All right, another big game coming up a little bit later. Hundley's been hurt, but Arizona State expects to see him. We will pick that one and the rest of the weekend slate, including A&M and Whoop Pig Suey.
Welcome to ESPN College Football Primetime, sponsored by Jimmy John's. Just about set to start the third quarter here in Stillwater. Oklahoma State with a 21-14 lead over Davis Webb and Texas Tech. Each team turned the ball over a couple of times in the first half. How about the Home Depot coaching adjustments?
Oklahoma State wide receivers making plays. Texas Tech isn't. When Dax Garmin has had shots downfield, he's looked for Marcel Aitman, a 6'4 wide receiver. And James Washington, the true freshman, has had 2 throws come his way. He's had 2 touchdown catches, David.
No doubt about it. You see it time and time again, man. Coverage making plays. And on the other side, I think Texas Tech, Davis Webb, they got in a rhythm early, but then they started dropping the ball, getting behind the sticks a little bit. You got to make these plays for your quarterback, especially when he was in great rhythm early in the ball game. Contested catches, yes, but you have to make these plays, especially once Oklahoma State started crowding the line of scrimmage and taking away those quick throws. Got to hit some throws over the top.
Davis Webb threw it 44 times in the first half. That's more than any FBS quarterback so far this season. Texas Tech ran 61 plays, but they find themselves on the short end of a 21-14 score. Each team had an interception in the red zone. In Oklahoma State's case, they threw one in the end zone. It kept this halftime lead from being bigger. Oklahoma State will get it first to start the second half. And Samantha Ponder, what did Mike Gundy have to say?
Yeah, Reese, I asked him about losing Ashton Lampkin back there, and he said it's a huge impact when it comes to the freshman that's stepping in for him. He said he really has to be protected. We have to do a better job of that. He also said they need to be more balanced, even though the explosive plays are effective. But the most interesting comment he had was when I asked about depth. When a team runs 61 plays, I said, Coach, what do you do? He said, nothing. There's nothing you can do. So, Reese, if you have any ideas, I'm sure Gundy will take them.
Get off the field. 3 and out. That might be a little more difficult. As Sam mentioned, Ashton Lampkin, cornerback who had 2 interceptions in the early part of the season, went down with an ankle injury. Dax Garman throws on first down. It'll be 2nd down and 10 as he missed his man over the middle. He was looking for David Glidden.
Still aggressive. No, I mean, we keep waiting for Oklahoma State and try to establish the run. But they're not interested in that right now. They are staying aggressive. Mike Yursich, the offensive coordinator, wants Dax Garman taking shots downfield.
And for all the mistakes Texas Tech made, not only the turnovers but the penalties, get a stop here and get it back as they're looking at 3rd and 10. They'd have a chance to tie it up. So, David, what do you think? Jesse says you want to keep taking shots here, and you've talked about not sticking with the run.
No, I mean, I think they ran back-to-back plays twice in the first half, back-to-back run plays twice in the first half, and you'd like to see that more of that from them. But now you get yourself in 3rd and long, where Texas Tech has brought pressure a lot and played a lot of man coverage, and they've gotten burned a lot. Drop back in the zone. They can throw the ball into tight windows.
It looks like initially that's what they're doing, trying to give some of those guys some help. Throw out in the flat to Rowland, and he is greeted rudely by Sam McGuavin, and it'll be 3 and out for Oklahoma State. McGuavin, leading tackler on this team, co-leader.
So defensive coordinator Mike Smith's had enough of these go throws on the outside of the field. He gets safety help over top of Aitman right here, number 3. They're going to help out these cornerbacks and not give Dax Garman an opportunity to throw the football deep down the field. It's easier to do that when you set up 3rd and longs. You have success on 1st and 2nd down, but let's see how this affects their attitude, because they got a pick at the very end of the half in the end zone. Now they force a 3 and out right away. Start feeling that confidence again.
Kip Smith in punt formation for Oklahoma State. Cameron Batson had a 37-yard return negated by a penalty in the first half. On the subject of penalties.
False start. Offense, number 7. 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
5th penalty on Oklahoma State tonight. So Kip Smith will back up a little bit closer to his end zone. 8 penalties for 85 yards for Texas Tech. A couple of them very, very costly. One on a long punt return. This is a low line drive punt and solo that Batson can't get to it to make the catch. And it'll be touched dead at the 37-yard line. And that's where Davis Webb and the Red Raiders will get it back.
Davis Webb was on fire early in this game. Pinpoint accuracy all around the field. He was aggressive, taking shots down the field, and his receivers were making plays for him. All of a sudden, he started kind of pressing a little bit. We heard Cliff Kingsbury mention that at the end. Throwing the ball into coverage, trying to make the perfect throw and impress people. That got him in trouble, and it got the offense out of their rhythm in the 2nd quarter of this game.
I mentioned the number of throws he had in the first half, 44. He threw it 71 times against Oklahoma State last year. A 52-34 loss. They'll start with a running play, and Oklahoma State, Josh Furman, who deflected a pass that led to an interception in the first half, has a tackle for loss.
One thing, we talk about the inexperience, especially in the back end of this Oklahoma State defense, but they fly around. You'd mentioned Furman, the Michigan transfer. Seth Jacobs, the other linebacker, their middle linebacker, Ryan Simmons. All of these guys in the 2nd level can fly.
Run.
Unlike me.
2nd and 13. Webb has it complete, and Reggie Davis making the catch. He'll be stopped short of the first down, third down coming.
You have to love the play call. They dropped so many go routes in the first half, and now they run a quick little comeback. Shorter, easier to complete, got more space, and still isolated on the freshman.
And if you complete a couple of those, you can set up the curl and go. Yeah. And then you've got another opportunity to take a shot, less conventional way, but you got a flag on the field again.
It's a substitution infraction because Reggie Davis was running off the field.
Yard penalty, third down.
It's a type of sloppiness that has plagued Texas Tech really the last couple of years.
And 3rd and 2 is way different than 3rd and 7. Remember, Oklahoma State's one of the better third down defenses in the country because 58% of the third downs they face are 3rd and 7 and more. The greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams, had issues converting on 3rd and 7. It's not easy for anybody to do, but you can't shoot yourself in the foot.
You see what Kingsbury and Webb have for 3rd and 7. Pressure coming from Oklahoma State, loft up toward Davis, and it's out of bounds and incomplete. And each team will open with a punt. That's Texas Tech's first 3 and out. And you know what? Samantha Ponder asked me what the answer was for fewer plays. 3 and out.
You're in the wrong profession, brother.
A little consulting fee. What, are you saying the other profession should be master of the obvious?
Coaching.
I've got a firm grasp on the obvious.
Captain Obvious.
Make a punt. It's the first time Oklahoma State has been able to do that. Texas Tech tonight almost blocked the punt. Semenk was taking his time getting it out of there, and Tyreek Hill backs up to his 5. Good job to avoid the block in the back, but now Hill needs some help. He's got great speed, but not a lot of room to utilize it, and the Red Raiders do a terrific job covering the punt. And they haven't been great on special teams tonight, but that was a terrific effort, just outstanding by their punt coverage team.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
Saturday at noon Eastern on ESPN. I can't see this matchup without thinking, did you see what we did? We stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. Tennessee and Georgia. Todd Gurley, Heisman hopeful. Of course, that's the legendary call of Larry Munson with the 2001 victory for the Bulldogs. See if Butch Jones can get a signature win by going between the hedges and giving the Vols a chance to win. Dax Garman with a strike, finding Marcel Aitman, and he's quickly becoming Dax's favorite receiver.
They haven't run it a lot, but the play action keeps working. And it's sucking up the linebackers and safeties. They're playing aggressive downhill, and that's opening up the throws outside and over the middle of the field.
Rennie Childs and Tyreek Hill in the backfield. That's Hill going out in the flat. Garman will pull it down, get to the corner, and does a good job crossing the 35. Nice pickup on first down to bring up 2nd and short.
And you've got to slide at the end of that run. You're already the backup quarterback. Good play action. First of all, I'd give it to Hill immediately if I was him. And then you're going to run and lower your right shoulder. It's your throwing arm, man. That's your moneymaker. Can't do that.
It's your go thrower.
Oh, he'd like to take a go here, and he does. He's got a man out there and just a little too far for Juwan Seals. 3rd and 1 coming.
Oklahoma State doesn't have a go-to guy at wide receiver like a Des Bryant or a Justin Blackman, but we've seen multiple guys show speed and flash. That was just barely overthrown by Seals, but whether it's Aitman, whether it's Washington tonight, they've got a lot of guys capable on the perimeter of the field that can hurt you.
And with this tempo, all those guys that run deep and then they sub out and you got the DB chasing them the whole time, you can wear them out that way too.
3rd and a full yard, so I'm okay with the shotgun snap.
Okay.
Okay.
Follow 44.
Instead, they're going to throw it. Garman into the middle. Not close. There's the flag down.
Wow. We talk about penalties and how Texas Tech keeps shooting themselves in the foot. This ball was not going to be catchable. If this is defensive holding or pass interference on a 3rd and 1 deep in Oklahoma State's territory, that'll be inexcusable for Mike Smith.
Pass interference. Defense, number 8. It's a spot foul. Automatic. First down.
You're going to see in the slot Austin Stewart. He's a linebacker right here. Check this out. That's Glidden in the slot, runs right by him. And
the ball's in the air.
Yeah. He just tried to grab him to not allow the easy throw. And I don't know whether or not J.J. Gaines, the safety, would have got there or not, but again, crucial penalty for the Red Raiders.
10 of them for more than 100 yards. That's right on their average for the game. The short run there, but to the point, David, what about 2 deep throws with 1 yard to go for the first down? Maybe second down, I see, but.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Now you got 2 tight ends in the game. You think the.
Garmin firing down the middle. He's right on target. He's got his big tight end, and rumbling toward the end zone is Blake Jarwin, and Oklahoma State scores again.
Forget it, Reese. Forget the runs, man. They're just going to sling it.
Need 47 yards. Why not go to number 47?
The amazing thing to me is how play action has worked and how when they've just gone straight drop.
That's a dime.
That's a dime to a 6'5" target over the middle of the field. And
in the zone coverage, by the way. We talked about him throwing go routes all day long. That was a tight window throw that he had to get that in. He's spinning it.
He can do that. He's a talented thrower, and we showed earlier how long it had been since he had taken a competitive snap, as the extra point makes it 28-14. Prior to this season, he hadn't taken one since 2009 when he was a junior in high school. But Dax Garmin can do this, and a conflicted throw with somebody right in his mustache, and Blake Jarwin takes it in, and the Pokes are up by 2 touches.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football is brought to you by the United States Marine Corps, the few, the proud, the Marines, and Buick. 5 expectation-shattering models. Another reason to experience the new Buick.
Let me tell you what you can find at Eskimo Joe's. You can find some carbs.
Yeah, you can. We were there yesterday. We had little sweet pepper bacon cheese fries as our amuse-bouche. Before we dove into some chicken chili, I think I saw Pollock eating. Man, that's a big time. That is an institution. If you're ever in Stillwater, Oklahoma, head over to Eskimo Joe's and get weird.
There are no small bites, the small appetizers at Eskimo Joe's. It's for hearty appetites. Jakeem Grant. Grant had a touchdown return call back earlier in the game. He's into Oklahoma State territory in a tremendous return before he's tracked down by Cameron Doolittle, and Texas Tech is in business to try to get a little closer after taking it back 55 yards.
Take a look at how quickly Oklahoma State has scored on these touchdown drives. 4 drives under 1 minute and 9 seconds or less. You think about it, that puts even more stress on this defense that, again, doesn't have a lot of depth. We talked about Texas Tech going to run a lot of plays in the tempo they've run, 64 so far, and the importance of Oklahoma State having to stay on the field. Well, not if you're scoring points. Right. You just wonder how long can this defense hold up.
First and 10 from the 44. DeAndre Washington rips through the defense and gets down to the 37.
And I think you can still do this if you're Texas Tech. I really do. And I know it's now a 2-touchdown game. It's not time to panic yet. It's okay to possess the football a little bit yourself and give your defense a rest.
Plays still in a significant advantage for Texas Tech, but a little bit closer than it seemed earlier. Davis Webb flushed out of the pocket, throws underneath to Marquez. Marquez is going to be about a yard short of the first down. Third down's coming.
Davis Webb's not your typical statue at 6'5". I think a lot of these D linemen right there had a clean shot. But he moves again. You get to see that mobility in and out of the pocket, keeping plays alive. Ooh, Oklahoma State player down.
When Cowpokes lost Ashton Lampkin, starting cornerback earlier. They lost Larry Stevens for a while, but he returned to the game, and now it's the linebacker that Jesse's been talking about, the athletic Seth Jacobs. Also been very good against the run. Here's the collision that left Seth a little shaken.
So he lowers that right shoulder in there.
A little friendly fire with Ryan Simmons there, his middle linebacker.
If your defense plays hard, you get so many collisions with yourself, trying to hit the running back or the receiver.
3rd and 1, play action. Webb picks up the first down. Davis Webb, big fella, using those long strides, and he gets it into the red zone.
There you see the mobility again. Yeah. And how about that play call on 3rd and 1? Everyone in this building thinking handoff to the running back. He looks like he's going to get stopped for a tackle for a loss. Watch this. Small area quickness.
Designed keep, too. You saw that they weren't trying to slip a guy in the flats. He was blocking.
18.
This is where you'd like to see his athleticism in the red zone a little bit more, but I don't think you want to run him too much.
18-yard pickup. He'll slip it back out in the flat and racing for the end zone. A flag comes in late. It's Justin Stockton, the freshman, who just scored, but let's wait and see about the penalty.
Beautiful play.
From the reaction of Red Raider coach, doesn't look as if this touchdown's going to stand up.
Catch is made by number 8, Justin Stockton.
It might be an eligible receiver downfield. This is David's favorite call.
And the other thing too is then have to go back and look again exactly where was the pass completed. It's behind the line of scrimmage, so that it wouldn't be the call.
I think that's what Cliff Kingsbury's trying to. He's trying to get the point across.
But I didn't think it was behind the line of scrimmage, though.
There is no foul on the play for a low block. The result of the play is a touchdown.
Okay, so they weren't looking at that at all. I think it was completed behind the line. That's a moot point. The officials got together and talked about it, and Justin Stockton's touchdown grab will stand up.
Look how much you have to look at. You got the jet sweep coming across your face, and then on the backside, you throw it to another speedster with Stockton. Great play design. Everything going to the right, throw it back to the left. This is a fast Oklahoma State defense that likes to fly to the football. Caught him off guard on that throwback.
Jakeem Grant set it up with a terrific kickoff return. Then Justin Stockton takes the pass from Davis Webb and goes in. And this is the kind of game we expected. 28-21, close to the midway point of the 3rd quarter. Of course, as you know, this is the first year of the college football playoff. Who's in? Well, some games that will help determine that. Florida State goes to North Carolina State. Last time they lost an ACC game was in Raleigh, just 3-5 in their last 8 trips. Surprising Arkansas get tested against Kenny, what's the nickname we're going with there?
Kenny Chill.
Kenny Chill and Texas A&M. And Arizona and Oregon next Thursday night, Autzen Stadium. We'll be there for that. Remember what the Wildcats did to the Ducks last year. Oregon escaped when they went to the Palouse over the weekend, and Oregon's still in good shape at the moment. But the 4 of us, Samantha, David, Jesse, and I, voted 1 through 6, put ourselves in the place of being a committee member. And here's what we have in terms of the top 4 seeds if we were making our selections today. And granted, there's probably a little bit of projection involved here. Oklahoma would get the top seed. They would have a rematch of the Sugar Bowl against Alabama, and the other national semifinal would be Oregon against Texas A&M. Further discussion coming as Tyreek Hill take it for the touchback, and the Cowboys will start on the 25-yard line. So a little bit of a shakeup, in Oklahoma moving to the top of the list for all of us. Is that where you have the Sooners right now?
I do. And I tell you what, you talk about common opponents as one of the measurements for the committee to use. They played West Virginia, so did Alabama. Played them in Morgantown, obviously away from home. But I think the offense has been pretty impressive. Now they see you can run the football. They're physical. Oklahoma, and the obstacles along the way aren't going to be as hard for them, so they have some staying power, I think, to be in that Final 4.
I had Oklahoma at number 3. The interesting thing about that is you look at number 1 and number 2, Florida State and Oregon, still major question marks. Or sorry, you look at Oregon at number 2.
Yeah.
Major question marks for them still.
Offensive line?
Invisible sometimes.
Yeah.
And to me, guys, Texas A&M was my number 1. That win against South Carolina to me was still the most impressive win of the year.
Getting to the outside is Desmond Rowland. Flag comes flying out. It was right up there. You're splitting hairs. I still think the best win, the best team that's been beaten is Michigan State.
During the run, holding, number 75 offense, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
And because of that, I think Oregon has the best win. I know it was at home, but I think the best team that any of the contenders, the teams at the top right now have beaten is Michigan State.
I agree. I think that's the best win, too, because that's a physical Michigan State team. Connor Cook is a baller. They got some weapons. And the way you run, too, you ran away. But I will say this, though. I don't think their offensive line is good enough right now for them to go undefeated.
I'm not convinced South Carolina's a bad team, guys.
No, I don't think they're a bad team.
They beat a very good East Carolina team and, of course, beat Georgia.
Dax Garman. Flag flies. Garmin's going to step out of bounds.
Man,
a lot of laundry in the second half
Oklahoma
already.
State's doing their best Texas Tech impression right now.
Good thing we got 8 officials out here so we can have 8 flags to throw.
It's a good decision by Dax right there, too. It was a screen set up. Can't throw the ball downfield. You got linemen all over the place, and he just tucked it and ran. Problem is the holding penalty, probably.
Holding. Defense, number 99. The pass was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. It's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
The pass wasn't thrown.
Well, Mike got a little confused on what happened there. Understandable, but the penalty is on Rika Levy, the junior college transfer.
I saw what he's talking about. He just literally bear hugged the.
It's Tyreek Hill.
The receiver right there they were trying to go to.
Yeah. Dax Garman firing down the middle and need to put that football away. Chris Lacey was holding it out in 2 hands. Good completion down the middle, tackle by Justice Nelson.
We've seen it better in the second half. The intermediate accuracy from Dax Garman has gone way up. And his receivers, again, on the perimeter of the field, when throws are contested, they're making plays.
Now this is his specialty, the go route to the outside, man out there, knocked away beautifully. Terrific defense out there by Tevin Madison, the freshman.
And let's give him some credit on that play because the freshman's had a rough night. Great job going step for step with Washington.
Not so sure that wasn't pass interference maybe. He kind of batted down with his right arm before the ball got there. He made Washington one-handed. Texas Tech may have gotten away with one there.
I say that was such a good play to let him have it. Love to see those defensive backs play the ball.
Quarterbacks love that too, Reese.
Garman, let's try it again. Right down the middle of the field, wide open, running under it, touchdown, Tyreek Hill. A man they are counting on to give them explosive plays all year. 50 yards for the score, and Tyreek Hill goes into the end zone for the first time as a Cowboy. He put up over 270 all-purpose yards in the opener against Florida State. Has been a little quieter since, but make some noise there. Garman well over 300 yards passing with that strike. Another 4-play touchdown drive. That's been their favorite sort. One just over a minute this time. Quick strikes coming from Gundy's team. Garman loading it up. Likes to show off the deep ball. Gundy said he had a knack, and boy, does he ever. Cowboys up by 14.
Oklahoma State's coaching staff made a priority to get this guy, Tyreek Hill, more touches in the offense. This isn't anything out of the ordinary. Just a simple post route run by everybody. You see the speed. He ran the second fastest 200-meter time in American high school history. That's just a beautiful throw.
How about that arm?
Dax Garman. Yeah.
55 in the air, and he just kind of let it out in front of him. He's only averaging 25 yards of completion right now. It's a pretty good night, right?
I would say in all 4 of his touchdown passes have covered at least 33 yards. That 50-yarder, the longest one.
Good idea not to kick it to Grant.
Yeah. Grant has been just killing them on kickoff returns, but now it looks like Stockton might do the same thing. Justin Stockton, who just had the last touchdown. There is a flag on the play as we take a look at Tyreek Hill and his track exploits. He enrolled midterm junior college transfer and immediately helped Oklahoma State win Big 12 indoor track championship.
Tail lights. Did you see that?
Yeah.
effortless speed.
And the thing about it, too, is he's not a track guy also playing football. He runs under control. I mean, we've all seen guys try to make the transition. They can't do it. This guy does it very well. He can run between the tackles as a running back. He's got it all.
I knew he was fast when I watched him play the opening week, and Florida State couldn't catch him. When he's the fastest guy in the field against that kind of talent, you go,
And that's why Alabama, Florida State, Texas, Oklahoma, all these schools offered him scholarships out of JUCO. I mean, they get it too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not normal.
You know, one of the one of the things he said that swayed him to Oklahoma State is track coach spent plenty of time talking to him. Dual sport athlete. Speaking of dual sport athletes, one just caught a pass. Bradley Marquez, baseball outfielder, still picking up some ground and breaking tackles. And he's finally run out of bounds.
So here's a play by a wide receiver. We talked about how Texas Tech's receivers had to start making plays. And it's not just catching balls deep down the field, but you're going to have to make guys miss, turn 3-yard throws into 15 and 20-yard gains. That's a great effort by Marquez.
Davis Webb underneath, right on the money to Jakeem Grant. Sure open field tackle coming from Seth Jacobs, who was shaken up a few moments ago, and now is back on the field with the Pokes.
I think that was the 18th time they've targeted Jakeem Grant now in the pass game. 18?
Well, there have been a lot of targets to go around. Davis has spun it out there 50 times tonight. We checked that. They just corrected the stat monitor to 49, but he's still thrown it a lot. Pickup of about 2 on Quentin White.
And the difference for Davis Webb is they're making him earn it. You know, Jakeem Grant, I'd keep giving him more touches with 222 all-purpose yards. Remember, 100-yard kickoff return comes back too. He's had a couple other plays that were explosive, but Oklahoma State's making Davis Webb earn it, and these guys on the outside make contested catches. The other end, Texas Tech's defense is not.
On second down, Webb avoiding some pressure and just throws it away. 3rd down and 8 coming.
It's one thing we haven't always seen from Oklahoma State is getting pressure in the face of Davis Webb and forcing him to move around like that and negotiate throws. Now you got another 3rd down situation. They bring their cheetah package in. Bring in Sam Wren at defensive end. They move Emmanuel Ogba, number 38, from defensive end right here at nose tackle, right inside, right over the center, trying to get speed. Everybody's standing up. This is what you call a radar look. So the offensive line, not really sure who's rushing in this box.
A lot of them are. They're picked up well initially. Marquez over the middle has the 1st down, and Bradley Marquez was there when Davis Webb needed him.
And just a great job. We saw this early in the game, but you see the pressure come, man-to-man coverage. You got a lot of weapons that can work the middle of the field or the outside real quick. If you don't press these receivers and mess with their release, they're too quick to cover.
Marquez converts on 3rd down, and Texas Tech trying to close to within a touchdown again. DeAndre Washington, the running back, and Washington has it. Washington finds running room. He's inside the 25. Finally dragged down at about the 22.
So you can lean on this offensive line. And we talked about how they're much improved from a year ago. Here's an example in the run game. Nice crease up the middle. Great cut. But also, guys, pass pro. We just saw in the last play. A lot of confusion, but guys stayed hat on hat, gave Davis Webb time. They hadn't given up a sack coming into this game. They gave up 19 last year during the regular season. So this unit gives this offense an opportunity to take the next step.
Webb steps up to avoid the sack, gets rid of it. Reginald Davis has it inside the 10 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Texas Tech.
Here we go. This is it. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech. Don't get it twisted. Every year, must-watch television. If you like offensive football and points.
And if you don't like defense, or if you like defense, don't watch.
Webb with his 4th touchdown pass. He's thrown for 371 yards. And these two schools accuse each other of borrowing from their traditions. Both are true right now. Guns up and pistols firing, and the offenses are coming to play as we're about to have a 35-28 game here late in the 3rd quarter. Back to 1 touchdown as Gundy's team can't quite seem to pull away from the Red Raiders. Davis Webb buying himself a little time and finding Davis for the 2nd time tonight. Davis Webb just threw his 4th touchdown pass. Texas Tech closing to within 7 of Oklahoma State. The sophomore quarterback from Prosper, Texas, showing his stuff, keeping the Red Raiders in it. Both defenses have been reeling a little bit here in the 3rd quarter. Tyreek Hill, who's had a 50-yard touchdown reception for the Cowboys. Tyreek sort of stumbled over his own feet, and he's frustrated by that, and he stopped just short of the 30-yard line. Saturday Night Football on ABC is presented by Wells Fargo. Notre Dame taking on Syracuse. They'll play in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Kickoff at 8 o'clock Eastern Time as Everett Golson and the Fighting Irish try to remain perfect.
A lot of balance we've seen from Oklahoma State in this game today. Almost the exact same number with the selection of run plays and pass plays, and that's been impressive, trying to help keep this Texas Tech defense off balance.
Rennie Childs. Haven't called his name much, and there was a little bit of running room there if he could have squirted through that hole.
And that's a staple of Mike Yurcich's offense. Last year they had similar numbers. This year they spread the wealth. 3 different running backs play. They got 7 receivers coming into this game that have been targeted 8 or more times.
Here's Garmin. There's one-on-one. There's the deep ball. It was almost intercepted. Justice Nelson kept good position on Seals.
And there's a good example, because not just one guy gets go throws. It could be Seals. It could be Shepard. It could be Washington. It could be Aitman. There's nobody you can key on this offense if you're an opposing defense. Everyone touches the rock, and that's credit to their offensive coordinator, Mike Yurcich.
How big would it be if they could get a stop here? Their offense is in such a good groove this second half. If you can get it back to them and get one possession, one stop.
3rd down and 6. Garmin has to get rid of it over the middle, and he completes it for the 1st down to Brandon Shepard.
And that's a great job buying time by Dax Garmin. You saw Davis Webb do it on the touchdown pass. He did the same thing. It was only a 4-man rush. He didn't have what he liked. First option. Did a good job shuffling his feet and staying alive to throw.
1st and 10 after the completion from Garmin. Back to the ground. Childs picks up 2, maybe 3, and you see the little skirmish at the top of the screen. That is Nigel Bethel, the top-rated recruit in Texas Tech's most recent recruiting class, a 4-star cornerback. He's eligible to play following his 3-game suspension. Is now complete. He was dismissed from the Tech program 1 day after punching Red Raiders women's basketball player Amber Battle, but reinstated after no charges were filed. And Battle herself said that she threw the first punch in a pickup basketball game, and Bethel makes the tackle on James Washington coming across. Grand jury, after declining to charge Bethel, submitted a letter asking that his scholarship be reinstated. Battle also sent a letter to the athletic director. Both Bethel and Battle received 25% of their season suspensions. Bethel's has now been served as Garmin comes out and completes the pass to Marcel Aitman. Cliff Kingsbury this week, on the subject of Nigel Bethel, who's a highly touted guy, said that he has been exemplary since being allowed to come back to the Texas Tech program, so they haven't had any problems with him before nor after. He's expressed remorse for what happened, as has Amber Battle. 2nd down and 5. Back to the ground with Rennie Childs. It'll be 3rd down and short coming.
And guys, I think both of these quarterbacks are under a lot of pressure right now, because this is a duel, and each guy's answering the other. Dax Garmin's throwing seeds. Davis Webb right now is lit up here in the second half. He's on fire. You kind of get the feeling you got to answer the bell. Every time you're on the field, you've got to score. This is one of these classic Big 12 football games. Both of these quarterbacks right now have got to play at a high level.
How even is it, Jesse? Webb's thrown for 371, Garmin for 370. Both 4 touchdowns, both 2 interceptions. Right now, Garmin has a 7-point edge and looking for more. Throwing to the outside to Washington. Washington's got it, but a flag comes in, and I'm wondering if they're going to get Washington for the push-off there, as he was covered by Justice Nelson.
He was pretty wide open, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It was a really nice job by Dax Garmin anticipating the throw and throwing it early, but you wonder when you see a DB fall down like that and the flag comes in right after.
Pass interference. Offense, number 28. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 3rd down.
And he's going to be a great one. You could tell he's got the physical skill set. And you see the freshman run to the top of his route and extend his arm out and throw the cornerback off.
It's the wily veterans that get away with that.
Because they don't extend the arm.
Exactly.
They put their arm on him to create enough space. But again, 3rd and 2, 3rd and short. We've seen it all night. It's hard to argue with their production. They haven't ran the football. They've taken advantage of the numbers game. Now they're backed up in 3rd and 15.
So Texas Tech play a big cloud here on coverage. Keep the ball in front of you.
Now that radar look Jesse was talking about, Red Raiders are employing. Everybody's standing up, trying to create some confusion. They'll run the draw to Hill. Hill's got running room. Tyreek Hill inside the 40, still on his feet, and inside the 35 to the 34, and he's just short of the first down. So this decision's now pretty easy. I think you try to move the sticks here, right?
You would have done it for sure in years past with the offensive lines they've had. Remember, inexperience on the right side. They get beaten up a little bit right here. This isn't a gimme by any stretch.
And you got dime personnel in the games. You got a lot of fast guys. Now you want to run up there and run it as fast as you can, but apparently you didn't like what you had.
Oklahoma State uses the timeout.
How fast did he make that hole? I mean, you're saying 3rd and 18. If you want to hand the draw off as a defensive guy, you want to hand the draw, that's fine. We're going to tackle you. You can have 10. But when you shoot up in the hill like in the hole like a rocket, those jump cuts are something serious too.
And again, missed tackling. You know, it's hard to tackle.
Find him, guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's a blur. But we talked about how tackling's been the biggest issue, leading the conference in missed tackles heading into this game. A lot of those missed tackles come in the back end with this secondary. But again, a guy that the coaching staff said, we need to get him more involved on offense and find creative ways to do that. They've done a good job of that in this game, playing a wide receiver, playing at running back, and finding spots to get him going.
Now I'm finding a spot for my big man, Desmond Rowland. He's my short yardage guy that I need. When I need a yard, I'm going to hand it to him.
Going to get up under center to do it?
Is that allowed?
There's J.W. Walsh, who provided an extra
You'd
running
put him under center, wouldn't you?
Well, when he's playing quarterback, he had some daring runs and some courageous ones against Florida State in the opener and give Oklahoma State a really good chance of pulling off the upset. Came up 6 points short. Texas Tech on 4th down, their opponents are 8 out of 9 on 4th down this season. They'll give it for the big fella, and he's got it, the first down, Desmond Rowland.
So you've got to get lined up if you're a defense.
It's kind of important.
On 4th and 1. You take a look at Levy right here. Look at the confusion inside. He's 367 pounds, doesn't know where he needs to be. He's not in his position. The right guard, Zach Veach, can just fire off. That's an easy conversion.
He got right in his chest and drove him out of the hole. Just over a minute to play here in the 3rd quarter. Oklahoma State finding a little productivity in the ground game now with Desmond Rowland.
How big was that conversion and that run by Tyreek Hill to keep this drive alive now after the offensive pass interference on Washington to answer this score from Texas Tech?
Garmin throwing it up top. That's Nelson working on Seals, and Seals couldn't hold on to it.
He looked like Justin Blackman for a second. I saw 81 in the corner. I thought to myself, I was having a flashback.
But Blackman would have came down with that.
This is a perfect throw where only his guy can make the catch, and the ground jars it loose.
And it's hard because he didn't have time, Jesse, but he's got to suck that into his body.
J.W. Walsh knows it. That was a missed opportunity.
He was close enough to him, he could yell at him.
So 3rd and 10. Good penetration by the defense.
Big time.
Beg your pardon. It was not 3rd and 10. It was 3rd and short.
Yeah, and a 3rd and short situation to bow up. You see, when they get lined up, they give themselves at least an opportunity, and now there's that decision time again if you're Mike Gundy.
What would you do?
I'm kicking a field goal.
David?
I'm rolling the bones.
Would be a...
I'm gonna let the clock run out first.
Yeah, it'd be a 42-yard field goal, and we'll get the decision from Mike Gundy to start the 4th quarter. His kicker, Ben Grogan, has a career long of 47. That one came against UTSA in their last game, so we'll see if Gundy goes to Grogan to stretch the lead to 10, or will he, as Pollock put it, roll the bones to try to keep the drive alive. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series goes to Dover. Coverage starting on ESPN Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. The final race of the Challenger round. 16 drivers battling. 12 of them advance in the chase for the Sprint Cup. It's also available on Watch ESPN as we start the fourth quarter here in Stillwater. And Ben Grogan comes on for Oklahoma State to try a 42-yard field goal. He's 8 for 11 on the season, but only 1 for 3 from 40 yards or longer. This to make it a 2-possession game. Grogan sends it on its way, and it is true. 38-28. Oklahoma State pushes it out to a 10-point lead. On 4 of their previous 6 possessions, the Cowboys have been able to put it in the end zone.
And they were aggressive right off the bat, putting drives together, running and throwing the football, but really this is where they've done their damage. Deep shots by Dax Garman. It really hasn't mattered who. They've spread it around, receivers, tight ends. We thought Texas Tech's run defense was the issue, but tonight so far it's been the pass defense and explosive plays.
Garman's thrown for 370 yards and 4 touchdowns. Davis Webb has thrown for 371 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Davis Webb about to go back to work here, David.
About to go back to work, and this Oklahoma State defense looks a little bit tired. They're out with their starting cornerback, and they've had their way in the second half. Davis Webb, he just wants to rock. He wanted that 4th down conversion to fail so he could get the ball and tie it back up because he's feeling it. He's in a good rhythm.
Texas Tech in its last game embarrassed on the ground by Arkansas. A little time to try to get things squared away on defense, and at times Red Raiders have been better against the run tonight. Certainly a different type of running attack from Oklahoma State than Arkansas. Jakeem Grant, who over 200 all-purpose yards in this game. Grant slips a couple of tackles and finally knocked down about the 27. Both teams getting a little aggressive and feisty here.
Why would that be a good idea to kick it to number 11?
It's not.
I mean, they've seen it enough tonight to know. I mean, you need to sky that thing up in the air or
squib it.
Squib it, do something, man. He's already got over 220 all-purpose yards this game.
Well,
240 now.
Sometimes the kickers don't do what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Physical error, perhaps, more so than a mental one. With Texas Tech down 10 on the road. Both teams, I told you at the start we'd get close to 1,000 yards of offense. We're going to get it. Still 14:48 to play here. Davis Webb has had the ball knocked away from him, and Davis Webb goes down. Jimmy Bean with the strip, and finally a sack. Jimmy Bean making sure Davis didn't spin the magic bean.
Jimmy Bean added 15 pounds this offseason. Get some more mass. He's only 250, but you see long arms. At 6'5", he's able to get that stretch in. That's the heads-up play by Davis Webb. Got lucky that ball bounced right back into his belly.
And it's the first sack of the season allowed by Texas Tech. 2nd and 17. Try to get some of it back. Washington. A lot of black and orange around to snow him under 3rd and long coming.
And it's the same thing. It allows Oklahoma State now to sit back and give you the underneath stuff. You're not as potent on offense. You can't put those guys in the slot and get those nickel and dime for those 5- and 7-yard plays. Now you just sit back at the chains, let them have everything short.
Got their best 2 receivers in the slot at the top of the screen. Marquez and Grant right up here.
Webb's got room to run. Can he get to the 1st down marker? There's a flag down in the backfield as Webb got enough for the 1st down, it appears. See exactly where they're going to mark it, but Davis a little bit slow getting up.
Man.
They're going to come back for a hole.
He's coming to the sidelines, it looks like. Yeah, left shoulder, it's sticking out. This is not good.
Oh, this is quite a problem for Texas Tech.
Offense, number 71, 10-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
Okay, you've got to remember what the quarterback situation is at Texas Tech now. This offseason, they had 3 guys transfer. Remember, Michael Brewer goes to Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield goes to Oklahoma. And Clayton Nicholas went to Bowling Green. So that leaves true freshman Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is the son of the former big league pitcher Pat Mahomes, and he's going to get a little baptism of fire here as you see Davis Webb trying to help his team get to first down and lands awkwardly.
And, you know, we've talked about how Dax Garman needs to slide. This is a different situation for Davis Webb, trying to convert that first.
Yeah, you could see his left arm.
And just not good.
And it's 3rd and 24 too for moving forward. But yeah. And Texas Tech has always had success. Though it seems like no matter who's at quarterback, but all the guys you just named, 3 transferring and now a true freshman that's just learned the system.
Well, that's the thing. The quarterback transfers too is something that Cliff Kingsbury has admitted that perhaps he could have handled better. The Baker Mayfield decision to go to Oklahoma, the most curious one, as he's continuing to seek immediate eligibility. Curious on a number of fronts. One transferring within the conference, another going to Oklahoma, where Trevor Knight's pretty established. Mahomes is going to run it. That Mahomes gets across the 25, and he takes a big shot.
It's still a big play. Getting a lot of that yardage back. You talk about field position and how important that is right now, giving themselves more real estate to get this punt away. Now he's got to go to the sidelines, meet up with Cliff Kingsbury, and they got to talk about what you feel comfortable with that I'm going to call here with the game on the line, trying to come back.
And working on that shoulder. Non-throwing shoulder. Tyreek Hill back to get the punt from Semank. Calling for the fair catch, and he makes it. And he bobbled it and dropped it, and smartly goes to the ground, covers it up to make sure that no turnover occurs. And Oklahoma State will have it back inside their own 20. Cowpokes up by 10, but now Davis Webb, and a lot of discomfort as they're working on that shoulder.
Well, you hate to see this. The expectations were so high for Davis Webb this year, as you see him go down right here again. Remember, he played pretty well in the second half of the year last year when he came in against Iowa State, but it was the bowl game in the Holiday Bowl when he was the MVP that everybody said, okay, watch out. Threw 4 TDs in that game. And Cliff Kingsbury told me this offseason he had the best spring he's ever seen in the system. That's saying something considering Cliff Kingsbury coached Case Keenum at Houston, the most prolific quarterback in NCAA history.
Johnny who?
Then Johnny Football to a Heisman Trophy. So everyone was expecting big things out of Davis Webb coming into this year, and you just hope this injury is not serious.
Oklahoma State goes to the ground with Desmond Rowland, and Davis Webb is headed to the locker room, and it would appear from this juncture of the game that his night's over, and if Texas Tech's going to rally, it'll be on the shoulders of Patrick Mahomes. And there's another Red Raider, a defensive player, who's down at the 30-yard line right now. I believe that's the free safety Keenan Ward. That's him, number 15. Neither of these teams have a lot of depth, or at least not experienced depth. That's being tested tonight. They've had some injuries in key spots. Good to see Keenan on his feet, making his way to the sidelines. Davis Webb, meanwhile, is headed back to the Red Raider locker room in obvious discomfort. But boy, just when you look at it and you think Texas Tech's ready to make a run, Webb made a nice play on the scramble to pick up some yards. And you land awkwardly, and all of a sudden, Mahomes, who's a 6'3", 215-pound freshman from White House, Texas, still yet to throw his first pass. He's going to have to do some of that coming up here in the fourth quarter. ESPN's college football presented by Cars.com. A big day starts at noon on Saturday with an SEC battle between Tennessee and Georgia. Todd Gurley leading the Dogs. Justin Worley trying to help Butch Davis turn things around on Rocky Top's game will be in Athens. Tough punt for Tennessee. They've been to Oklahoma this year and now headed into Athens in the early part of the season, and Samantha Ponder has more on Davis Webb.
A possibility of some good news, Reese Davis. They took Davis up to the locker room. He's working with the team doctor right now. Obviously, it's not the throwing shoulder, but they did say officially that he is not out for the game. So I'm standing by the locker room entrance. I'll let you know if he comes running out.
All right, Sam, we'll get it back to you as soon as they can. You know, sometimes they try to pop that thing back in and see if you can tolerate it and go,
Don't
right?
want to speculate, but yeah, you kind of want to think maybe it's just it's a separated shoulder. You know, if you can come back in, it's going to be painful. There's no doubt about that. But if he can go, that would be huge for Texas Tech.
And obviously, if it was his right shoulder, the throwing shoulder, there's no way he could come back in. So it being the non-throwing shoulder, but he's trying to make a play for his team. He's got 3rd and long. They need it badly. Down by 10 points.
It wasn't that violent a hit. It's just sort of the way
he braced himself with that arm, and you rolled forward, and you could see his shoulder.
So how important is this for Texas Tech's defense to come up with a stop now? You got a true freshman in at quarterback at this juncture of the game, 10-point game at the moment. You want to try to give this young quarterback his best opportunity, and Oklahoma State could kind of, you know, they got to be smelling blood in the water right now offensively. Hey, if we can get a drive going here, put a touchdown up on the board, close this thing out.
And do you have a tendency to get a little bit more conservative here too? You're up 2 scores. Now you know their backup quarterback is in the ball game. But the reason this offense has been so successful is because they've been, you know, run, play action, deep shots has been what they've been living on. So they continue to keep the foot on the accelerator. Davis Webb.
Davis Webb making his way back. You know, from Mahomes, who hadn't gotten as much playing time as Kingsbury had hoped in the first couple of games of the season. He did have a scrimmage early on in which he threw 5 touchdown passes. Garmin's going to air one out. What a surprise. Looking for Washington. Washington fighting, and he caught it, but he was out of bounds. I think he held on to it. It didn't matter. It was incomplete, but the athleticism was pretty impressive nonetheless.
Curious of how this is going to affect the morality of the team right now. Davis Webb walking back very confidently, not in pain, doesn't look like it. You can kind of see him jogging back to the sidelines now. This is going to be a huge boost for their sidelines and for Cliff Kingsbury.
And the one thing, too, Texas Tech doesn't get its quarterback hit very often. Webb is hit on a scramble. He had the first sack of the season tonight, and it was largely just because he got the ball knocked out of his hands as the rusher went by. So they do a good job protecting him, and it's not the throwing shoulder. We'll see if Webb's able to come back in the game after this 3rd and 7. Garmin throwing it up top. He's got Washington out there, and there's a flag down. Washington has it. Washington's going into the end zone for the score. He was covered by Justice Nelson. Let's see which way this flag's going to go.
I think this might be the 2nd time he's called for offensive pass interference against Justice Nelson.
Yeah, it's coming back.
It looked like it was his left arm after about 10, 15 yards down the field.
Pass interference, offense, number 28. 15-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
Mike Gundy upset with the call. Let's go back and take a look at this again. Just a straight go route. There's that left arm. He's got it pushed off against the right shoulder of Justice Nelson.
And Nelson also, he's the one who put his hand on him. He was just looked like he was trying to get his hand off, but you can't do it up to his shoulder pad. You got to just slap the hand. If you can slap the hand, but you can't put your hands up on his shoulder pad or else they're going to call that.
All right, we saw Davis Webb come back, Samantha. What do you have?
He ran back angry and not holding his helmet. Obviously, that's not a good sign. I just got official word from the school. He will not return tonight.
You can see the emotion on his face too, Sam. He's upset. He kind of jogged back down the field. You know, as the leader of the team, we talked about the expectations on him this season. You want to be there for your guys. That's a painful moment.
And Tyreek Hill running that draw on 3rd and long. It pretty much worked one time, and not this time, as Micah Awe was able to track down Hill. And Webb, a picture of frustration, but now he can be really helpful to Patrick Mahomes. He's going to get the ball back with just under 11.5 minutes to play here in the game with his team down by 10. Well, Webb's had a productive night, throwing for 374 yards and 4 touchdowns. Did turn it over a couple of times. And he's kept Texas Tech into the game with some big plays, and now it'll be up to Mahomes. Officials stop the clock. Red Raiders use a timeout. We'll take it with them. 4th quarter, 11:04 to go when you come back.
ESPN Thursday Night College Football is presented by Jimmy John's, great sandwich delivery, and in part by Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans. Unbeatable comfort and 20% stronger. Wrangler Real Comfortable Jeans.
Pistol Pete, a beloved figure on campus, and the Pistols are firing at Oklahoma State. Davis Webb offering some words of encouragement to Patrick Mahomes. Webb injured his left shoulder on a scramble, and now the true freshman who threw for more than 8,400 yards, 96 touchdowns in high school, son of a former big league baseball player, will get a chance to try to rally the Red Raiders. And another flag comes down. Both teams over 100 yards in penalties. As Cameron Batson didn't get much on the return. Webb will try to exhort his younger teammate, younger by 1 year, to see if they've got a rally in them.
You'd love to see that right there. That's tremendous leadership. He's hurt, he can't play.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 16, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So you help out any way you can. Now, if you're Texas Tech, down 10 points, almost 11 minutes to go, we talked about how that offensive line had been their most improved unit on the offense. They've had success tonight running the ball. You've got to be able to do that now, especially with this true freshman under center.
And Mahomes plans to play baseball for the Red Raiders, too. He was a 37th round draft choice by the Tigers, prefers football. And he's going to get a taste of what life is like in the Big 12 in a clutch situation. His team down 10, just over 10 minutes to play here in Stillwater. And Mahomes avoids the sack, but gets a short gain. Vili Leveni was there to make the stop.
And you already saw he's a pretty good athlete on that third a mile. He scrambled up and got a bunch of yards, but you didn't see Davis Webb have to take off too many times. He had the answers. He knew where to go quickly. How can he make his decisions quickly? That's what he's going to have to do.
Low snap. Mahomes goes down. Emmanuel Agba, haven't heard much from him tonight, but he makes a sack on Mahomes.
There's no substitute for experience. And David, to your point, Davis Webb knew where the answers were. There's going to be pressure here, but you see that shallow cross underneath by Marquez.
Give it.
That's the outlet you need to throw to if you're a quarterback under fire. He's missed 2 check down throws in these 2 first plays.
3rd and 11. Mahomes has it knocked away, picks it up, flips it out dangerously, and was it intercepted off the deflection by Jacobs? It was. What an athletic play, ill-advised play by Mahomes, but how about Jacobs with the ultimate of the tip drill? Kevin Peterson, who was a beneficiary of a tip earlier tonight, this time tips it. First guy to knock it away was Jimmy Bean.
Cliff Kingsbury's telling him you have to understand situational football here. 3rd and long, you lose the football, lineman tries to jump on it, you scoop it up, you're falling to the ground and just blindly flip it out to the flat where there's a lot of black jerseys. Simply can't do that. That could prove very, very costly.
That's twice we've seen Jimmy Bean come off the end and swat the football, doing a good job seeing the football, knocking out of the quarterback's hands. He's got 2 sacks like that tonight.
Tremendous play, too, by Seth Jacobs. We've seen 2 guys, Larry Stevens at safety and Seth Jacobs at linebacker, get hurt, come back in the game and make plays. And you can see Cliff Kingsbury, he's a true freshman. And unfortunately, those are the growing pains that you go through as a head coach and an offensive play caller.
That was his first career pass, and it's one he'd rather forget as soon as possible. As Desmond Rowland is knocked down, 2nd and long coming, and as Mahomes came to the sideline, here's how he was greeted by his head coach.
Just tell him, look, you're all right, you're okay, you're all right. Shake it off, get ready to go back out and play.
It's got to be so hard to do because you know he's such a competitor and you want to just, come on, man, you can't do that, but when you got a freshman like that, it's not going to do any good if you yell at him.
Right. And now it's up to the defense to try to hold him to a field goal. Keep it to be a 2-possession game, and the defense does a pretty good job getting to Dax Garman. 3rd down and long coming. Brandon Jackson, the first guy there.
And we've seen his deep ball, and it's great. But the next thing for him is going to be pocket presence. You saw him right there. He was just kind of wigging out in the pocket. He had plenty of protection. Just got to kind of stay back there and chill. and go through your reads and throw it. Doesn't have to be a go every time.
Yeah, well,
doesn't have to be a deep ball every time.
You might be looking for it here.
Fade to the corner of the end zone.
And you got number 28. Yeah, you got our guy, James Washington, right here. This is the guy he's liked to throw at.
As long as he doesn't push off, he's been successful.
Had a touchdown call back a few minutes ago on an offensive pass interference.
Got a 6'4" guy up here too. I mean, you can take your pick.
Pressure, throwing it away. Hit the crossbar.
Got a tall goalpost too.
That's hard to do when you're trying to do it. I'm not sure that that was the intent for Dax. So it'll be 4th down. Oh, there's a flag down.
Half the distance to the goal, automatic, 1st down.
Roughing the passer. We've seen it all night from Texas Tech with bad penalties.
It's a tremendous pass rush right up the middle.
And I think
number 5, Gary Moore, is just Robertson's got to know better.
I think that's more about how he lands on top of him with all of his body weight, and his helmet comes in there, because it wasn't really late, but I think it was more of how it happened.
Yeah, I didn't think it was late at all. Rowland trying to stay on his feet. This blows it dead.
I will, firstly, shooting themselves in the foot, Texas Tech. Penalties like that, special teams, Jakeem Grant, kickoff return touchdown gets brought back. You've got drop passes in the first half, deep balls they should come up with. You throw a pick in the red zone early in this game. They're not good enough. They don't have the talent. They don't have the experience to be able to overcome any of that.
Already one of the most penalized teams in the country. They've almost doubled their penalty yardage tonight, getting close to it. 15 penalties. Garmin running, Garmin into the end zone, and that might put it away.
I was just about to say they really missed J.W. Walsh in the red zone and his ability to run. And how about that? Going in the playbook, we haven't seen Garmin run all night. And it's a quarterback design run all the way. Watch him fake it to Desmond Rowland. And you can see he's got his lead blocker Seaton out there on the edge. Throwing the deep ball, showing you the wheels.
Garmin's certainly shown some promise, as you mentioned, David. There's certainly some polishing to be done in terms of game management, pocket presence, intermediate throws, but there's some talent to work with here. He can throw it around. It's now a 17-point lead, which makes it a 3-possession game with just over 7.5 minutes to play here in Stillwater. Been an entertaining game. Dax Garmin standing in there, taking the roughing the passer penalty, keeping the drive alive, and then paying it off, running for the touchdown. 45-28, OK State. Big 12 opener for both Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Cowboys just a few minutes away from starting conference play at 1-0. 3 of the last 4 years. Oklahoma State has won 10 games or more. Old Pistol Pete's squad totally rebuilt. Most inexperienced team in the nation. Backup quarterback Dax Garmin, now the starter after the injury to J.W. Walsh. And Garmin's had himself a night, thrown for 4 touchdowns, run for another, and there's J.W. See the boot on his right foot. He had a right foot injury. Had a terrific game against Florida State in near miss, and well, that was a very fortunate bounce off the line drive kick. They weren't really trying to go onside there. They were just trying to keep it away from the dangerous return men. And almost wound up getting the ball back. Sam, we've seen Davis Webb be very animated watching it again now. What's the latest on him?
Yeah, that's exactly why I asked the athletic training staff what the situation is exactly with his arm. They said they're not putting him back out there because it's just not secure enough at his shoulder. They said they were confident that it may just come right back out again if they put him out there.
Well, at this point, I mean, you can understand at any time safety of the player has to come first.
But when it was 10 points, it's
10 points is different than 17.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and how important is he to the rest of your season?
And the one thing they weren't able to do because they didn't play well against Central Arkansas and UTEP is get Mahomes some reps, and now at least they're getting to do that. And Mahomes throws it to the outside. A flag comes out. It's like Kevin Peterson could be called for pass interference.
We've seen it all night. DBs running with receivers and not getting their head turned around.
When was the last time you saw so many go routes in a game?
Pass interference. Defense number 1. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
No need for creativity in the pass game.
And he's all over him. He's just got to turn around quicker.
Davis Webb likes it. And Mahomes,
it's a good leader right there, too.
Mahomes should like it, too. I mean, a throw like that, you've just thrown a pick in the previous first series. Getting that big penalty, pick you up a little bit.
And Mahomes slips it to Washington. Washington's inside the 30. Cowboys hop aboard for a ride. It was James Castleman. Finally got him on the deck.
And the tempo at a premium right now, needing to get plays run. Mahomes getting everybody lined up.
Mahomes on the roll. He's going to pull it down. Tries to sneak ahead for the first down. He's going to be a little bit short, so the clock keeps running. Inside 7 minutes by the time they snap it.
See the play calling already a lot different, a lot safer, getting the young quarterback to the perimeter and giving him run pass options. Pretty good athlete, we know. Critical big 3rd and 1 here.
Mahomes keeps it, turns inside, gets inside the 15. And with that run from Patrick Mahomes, we are now over 1,000 yards of total offense tonight.
The play calling looks as if Cliff Kingsbury's got Johnny Manziel again at Texas A&M. Option, run options. Stressing the defense in different ways.
And Mahomes threw it out to a wide open receiver, Devin Lauderdale, but the whistle had sounded.
And we already saw Ashton Lampkin limp off earlier and not come back. Kevin Peterson now comes off the field for Oklahoma State. Still some time left.
.6:32 to play here at Boone Pickens Stadium in Stillwater. Both teams run a bunch of plays. Texas Tech not nearly as many in the second half, ran more than 60 in the first. Red Raiders trying to close to within 2 scores. They have the ball 1st and 10 on the 11-yard line of Oklahoma State. Patrick Mahomes, the true freshman from White House, Texas, now taking over after the injury to Davis Webb. Mahomes firing way too high. There's a flag as Ramon Richards was covering Bradley Marquez. I think the question might be if that was catchable or not.
And the answer is no.
Yeah.
That about hit the first row.
Pass interference. Defense number 18. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
That ball had a better chance of getting caught by somebody in the first row than it did by a receiver. Both starting cornerbacks for Oklahoma State out of the game. Both their upperclassmen, a lot of freshmen. Got to think Mahomes a little running quarterback time.
Yeah,
huh?
no doubt.
And then Mahomes met in the backfield and swarmed under.
Now,
for Haltel on the stop.
He might should have gave the ball,
yeah.
But make it easy, right, Jess? You don't want him reading too much.
No, and getting him outside the pocket, again, those run pass options, making it comfortable for him and giving him cleaner reads.
You saw him run the speed option successfully, too.
Holmes firing to the corner of the end zone. Grant, who only had 1 reception in the second half before that, hauls in the touchdown. First touchdown pass of the career of Patrick Mahomes.
Much different looking drive than his first possession, obviously. Gaining confidence along the way. That's a beautiful job of recognizing man-to-man coverage, knowing where your best wide receiver is, and Jakeem Grant, giving him a nice catchable ball in the corner of the end zone on the smash route.
So a 5-play, 48-yard drive after the
horrible
somewhat botched attempt at a squib kick that ended up hitting a Texas Tech player, and the Red Raiders were fortunate to recover it. Fortunate that Oklahoma State didn't recover it. They turned it into a touchdown. There's still some time to go. And now we're right on 80 points. Oklahoma State, it just seemed, left Grant uncovered on that touchdown point.
Introducing new Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans. The most comfortable jeans you'll ever wear. Guaranteed.
How do we do it? We make Wrangler Advanced Comfort with 4-way flex technology that bends the way that you do, moves the way you move. And the reinforced fibers are 20% stronger than traditional denim. New Wrangler Advanced Comfort Jeans. guaranteed to wear longer and feel better than any jeans you've ever worn.
Wrangler, real comfortable jeans.
Messi can surge forward now. Challenged by Aguero, he's brushed him off. And beat another challenge. Out to Neymar. Just can't write scripts like this.
Rated E for everyone. EA Sports. It's in the game. Xbox One now starting at $3.99.
Everybody in the joint expecting the onside kick. Texas Tech has 2 timeouts left. Down 10, 5:52 to go. Freshman quarterback who can't quite operate as fast, and everybody expecting it doesn't get it. On drive, Tyreek Hill back into the end zone, and they'll try to rely on their defense to get the ball back quickly. Cliff Kingsbury hoping his D can come through and at least give the Red Raiders a chance at giving the Pokes a finish here.
We talked about Mike Smith, the interim defensive coordinator, former linebacker at Texas Tech, played for Rex Ryan for 2 years in Baltimore, was a coach under him with the New York Jets for 3 years. Can he dial up some pressures? Rex Ryan obviously known for blitzing, being aggressive. What does Mike Smith have on that play sheet right now? Down 10, needing to get the ball back quick.
And I guess the reverse of that is Oklahoma State's been feasting on the outside when you played man coverage. Do you want to chunk it, or you want to see what you can do? See the diamond formation for the first time tonight.
I think you try to run it a little bit and bleed the clock. And give it to Rowland.
But Texas Tech's defense has actually done well stopping the run. I mean, that hasn't been the problem. It's been the pass over the top. Defensive line has played pretty good.
For the most part, David, I would say improvement. And
Yeah.
they've given up 45 points, I get that, but that front seven has played way better tonight than they had at any point in the previous 3 games.
Now, how much of that is improvement? How much of it is struggles that Oklahoma State has in the offensive line?
I think a lot of it's improvement. I think it's just guys just being in their gaps and guys filling. The issue tonight's been explosive plays down the field.
They're trying to make another explosive play down the field, and they had a chance for it, and it went right through the hands of Marcel Aitman.
Those were the plays that Texas Tech wasn't making earlier in the game. Wide receivers dropping passes. Aitman's been the flavored choice on these deep throws for quarterback Dax Garman, and he just clean beats him off the line. That's a catch he should make.
Won't get an easier opportunity than that one, but now clock stops. 5:08, 3rd and 8. Got a chance to get the ball back. Obviously, Mahomes can't operate at quite the same tempo that Davis Webb can, but got plenty of time here. If you can get him off the field on 3rd down, and Tech's done a pretty good job.
Yeah, Rex Ryan's goal.
Garman going to try to run it. Dax finds a little room. He's knocked down well short of the first down. So as we go inside 5 minutes to play, Oklahoma State's going to have to punt it back to the Red Raiders.
Another design quarterback run. We've seen a lot of draws on 3rd and long with Tyreek Hill. I think a lot of Oklahoma State fans probably going, man, we've had a lot of success passing the football. It's probably a smart move, though. I mean, you got a backup quarterback on the other side. I think you trust yourself. They only got a couple timeouts, closing down to 4 minutes left in the ballgame. They got to score twice.
And Mahomes had one disastrous possession, and then the second shot he got at it, he led his team to a touchdown. Trying to block the punt and get it out of there. Batson's not going to be able to return it, so the Pokes are going to let it roll as long as they can. Way down to about the 23-yard line, so Red Raiders will have it 77 yards away. Here's the young freshman quarterback, Patrick Mahomes.
There's a tale of 2 drives. His first possession misses a couple check down throws. Here on 3rd down, ill-advised throw to the flat, ended up being an Oklahoma State pick. That would lead to a score. Then he bounces back the second drive, looked much more comfortable, played under control, made some good reads. Davis Webb liked it. A touchdown throw to Jakeem Grant.
And so the drop pass from Oklahoma State breathes a little life into Texas Tech. Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes stands in, fires it right to Bradley Marquez. It'll be a first down right at the 40-yard line. Clock will stop long enough to move the chains.
I think what you're impressed with right now is how quickly he's getting everybody set up. He's getting the play call in from Cliff Kingsbury and getting guys on the right page, not wasting time.
There's a illegal motion penalty.
That surprises you?
False start. No. Fence. Number 21. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Just for the record, the FBS record for most combined penalty yards in a game, we're not close to it. It was 421 between Grambling and Texas Southern. Where are we right now? We're at about 280. We're closing in on 300, so we're not quite there yet. Mahomes, after the 5-yard step off, buying some time and now running out of time, and he goes down. Emmanuel Ogba with the stop. It'll be second and a mile.
And again, just situational football and an understanding when you have to throw the ball away. You know, as Cliff Kingsbury's kind of, you know, he's handcuffed right now. How much offense does this young true freshman understand, feel comfortable with? How many reps has he gotten in practice? And obviously, he's never been in a situation before.
Also, dinking and dunking ain't going to get it done. You also got to push it down the field a little bit, so he's got to hold on to it a little bit longer.
And he pushes it down the field, and he tried to split those defenders and fit it into Devin Lauderdale. It'll be 3rd and 24.
You see defensive coordinator Glenn Spencer from Oklahoma State. It's not going to let him sit back and survey the field. Now he's starting to dial up pressure as well, coming from different angles.
He's got 2 true freshmen in cornerback right now.
And 3rd in California, so probably protect those guys.
Yeah.
Get some safety help in the back end. Keep the football in front of you.
Mahomes in the middle, had a man out there. It's Grant, and Grant had it for a second and couldn't hang on to it, so now it'll be 4th down and 24.
Just haven't been able to make the plays as consistently at wide receiver, the same way Oklahoma State's been able to do that. We've seen a couple drops from Grant tonight. It hasn't just been him. When those opportunities have presented themselves, you got to give Oklahoma State credit. Offensively, they've done a better job executing.
And Grant's been targeted 20 times. He's caught 12 of them for 100 yards, had the touchdown. Tyreek Hill calls for the fair catch. And he makes it at the 26. So a 10-point lead for Oklahoma State. Cowboys have the ball. 2 timeouts remaining for the Red Raiders, and they need the ball 2 more times.
Why do you punt it there then?
It appeared to be a little bit of a concession. I mean, you know, your odds of 4th and 24 aren't great.
Well, what are your odds of punt? What are your odds of punting and giving them the ball with 2:50 left?
Agreed.
Down 2 scores.
I mean, the last drive, you know, they got it back pretty quick. You think Tex Carmen might keep taking go shots, might not complete them. Stop the clock. But so, therefore, if you're Oklahoma State right now, then make them pay for that. Run the ball, make them use their timeouts, and bleed the clock.
It's exactly what they do with Desmond Rowland. Rowland gets up across the 30-yard line.
They need him this year because he's the best runner they have in between the tackles, and he's the guy that can push the pile 2, 3, 4 yards. With the offensive line they have, they need to get tougher, they need to get more physical. But in order to churn out the hard-earned yards throughout the season, Desmond Rowland's going to be a crucial factor in Oklahoma State's success this year.
Hasn't really seemed like Rowland's gotten it as often as he has tonight. 21 carries.
He scored 16 touchdowns a year ago. I mean, led the conference.
Yeah.
You know, got a bit of a rib injury in that Week 1 loss to Florida State. They need him to come on strong.
Give it to him for the 22nd time. He stopped short of the first down. Stop the clock with 2:01 to play. 3rd down and 3 coming up for the Cowboys as they try to salt this one away at home.
Sure wish you guys would bring layaway back.
Actually,
that way I can split my payments up into like little bite-sized chunks. Yeah, I mean, you feel me, right?
Yeah. Sir?
Oh,
Layaway is back, and it's free. Save money, live better. Walmart. Axe Dark and new Axe Gold shower gels. 2 irresistible fragrances.
Mike Gundy talking to his quarterback, Dax Garman, as Texas Tech is down to 1 timeout. Cowboys have a 10-point lead. Set the clock officially back to 2:02. That's when the timeout was signaled. And for the Red Raiders to have a gasp of hope, need to keep the Cowboys from converting this 3rd down, get the ball back, score quickly, get the onside kick, and do it again.
Do they have the guts to call for another Dax Garman keep like he scored on that last touchdown here? Not what Texas Tech would be expecting.
Run the ball with Rowland the last 2 times. Garman is keeping it. Good call, Mr. Palmer. It'll be a 1st down. Garman needs to slide. He does not. He's none the worse for the wear, and that ought to do it for the Cowboys, one would think.
It's a good play call by Mike Yurcich. You got to give head coach Mike Gundy credit because he's hired extremely well at that spot.
You think?
You get he doesn't want to call plays anymore back in 2010, so you bring in Dana Holgerson.
He's pretty
from
good.
Houston. Yeah, he goes off to be the head coach of West Virginia. Then you bring in Todd Monken from the NFL. He stays 2 years and gets the head job at Southern Miss. So you bring in Mike Yurcich from Shippensburg in Division II. And there's no drop-off last year, rarely. I mean, they still scored 40 points a game. Coaches get evaluated on wins and losses in recruiting, but Mike Gundy's knocked it out of the park when it's come to hiring his staff.
Well, Mike's also tired of going through resumes, so you go down to Shippensburg where the guy's not the hot coordinator in waiting, whatever, make him stick around a little longer before he earns that title.
Great job by him tonight, though, and again, balance. We've seen them running it. We've seen them throwing it. He's done a great job coaching this young quarterback in Dax Garman, who you said we talked about hasn't played an organized football game since 2009, before 2 games ago.
And boy, Gundy has done a tremendous job with his Oklahoma State programs. We're inside a minute, and they're going to get their first win of the season in the Big 12. 3 of the last 4 years with 10 wins or more. And it's time now for our Wrangler 5-star player of the game, and it is the guy Jesse was just talking about, Dax Garman. 370 yards passing. He accounted for 5 touchdowns. And the Cowboys in 25 seconds are going to be 1-0 in Big 12 play.
Really impressive. We knew he could throw the ball deep, and he came out that early, finding targets outside one-on-one. As the game went on, I got more impressed with his intermediate and short throws, like you see right here, dotting the I on this throw to a tight end.
Then spinning it 55 yards in the air to a speedster. And how about this? J.W. Walsh. He's not the only athletic quarterback. Give me a little rush and score.
And college football prime time brought to you by Jimmy John's on a Thursday night, and Oklahoma State delivers a 45-35 victory over Texas Tech. They've now won 6 straight in the series. Another offensive showcase as the teams accounted for more than 1,000 yards combined. Once again, our final score: Cowboys 45, Red Raiders 35. For our entire ESPN crew and Samantha Ponder, David Pollack, and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis saying good night from Stillwater Sports Center with Robert Flores, Kevin Connors right now.